Good evening everyone, welcome to the iRacing Esports Network and welcome to the streets of Detroit, to the Belle circuit for race meeting number 3 of the World GT Championship, sponsored by SimSports Racing Equipment. We have come to our first Enduro race meeting of the season. If you're new to the championship, the standard format for this series is 3 20-minute sprint races. Today we switch things up a bit and go for a 90-minute Enduro, shortened by half an hour after running for 2 hours last season. Well, it may be the Love Island final tonight, but one couple that has remained the same pretty much in the commentary box for the last 2 seasons anyway, and I don't see it going on the rocks anytime soon unless something happens tonight. It's me, Adam Bath, and Sam Fitzpatrick alongside me, and Sam, an endurance race coming up. I think we're looking forward to it. I am anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Unfortunately, I can't make any Love Island references. I don't quite know what's going on there, but yes. It should be a good race though, this. And yeah, 1.5 hours around this circuit, and qualifying so important. It's rare that you have a 90-minute race where qualifying could almost decide it. It is so tough to get past around this circuit. And of course, the drivers are so competitive and so evenly matched that you really got to have quite an advantage in order to make a move. But we could see some mistakes, we could see some pileups, we could see some very unfortunate drivers, with some drivers ricocheting back onto the circuit after hitting the wall, collecting others. Could see some mayhem, and well, that is what we want to see.
Yeah, I think many of our viewers find one last thing on Love Island is probably our viewers in America have no idea what it is. I think it may be hitting your shore soon. But yeah, looking forward to the Enduro layout today. And you are right, qualifying is going to be pretty crucial here, which is why we probably should get to it now. And it is on right now, and it is Mark Fletcher that is currently on provisional pole here in the Radicals Online Motaf car. Let's see if we can get him on the track. Here he is, as we get the times up for you, and we can see who's doing what in the closing stages. There he is, Mark Fletcher, Radicals Online Motaf. It's Laszlo Katrox for Radicals Online Turn Racing that sits in P2 at the moment on the timing screens. Keith Camilleri in 3rd, Carl Janssen 4th, and Christian Schallner in 5th. And it's no surprise really to see Radicals Online doing pretty well here. Sam, they are of course probably one of the experts in terms of sports car racing in this Enduro format, and it'll be interesting to see if they can come to the fore here, where they've got a bit longer than 20 minutes to try and win a race. Yeah,
definitely. I certainly know that they won in the DP class in the 2018 Daytona 24 Hours, a famous enter that's going on. There's a little bit of a controversial win, to say the least, but they certainly put their car in the position to win it right at the end of the race. And yeah, they are one of the absolute probably top 10 teams in all of iRacing and sim racing for that matter as well. And yeah, they're currently doing very well. The championship, by the way, it's ever so close. Mark Fletcher is actually leading the way in the championship by only 3 points though over Carl Janssen, who tends to struggle in qualifying. He's doing well in qualifying at the moment, which is always a dangerous sign for his opponents. Christian Schallner is in 3rd place, despite having a bit of a rocky last round. Thibaut Zorbon is 4th, and then it's Maxime Bryant in 5th. Then a little bit further back to Rich Gafenki, who's having a terrific season in 6th. Michael Avdoka, Brian Lockwood, Lewis Bibby, top of the Pro-Am drivers, and Keith Camilleri rounding out the top 10. And if you look at that list, and of course I didn't even mention Josh Thompson in there. He's miles down the standings at the moment, is Thompson. So watch out for him as well. There's so many drivers who could win this championship, so many drivers who could win every single race, Adam. And I feel like we've never really had this before in such a elite series like this. You have no clue who's going to be on top. At the moment today, it is Mark Fletcher. Yeah, we're 3 race meetings into the season. We started out at Brands Hatch, the Grand Prix circuit there, and went to Snetterton last week as well. And even now we're only at the 3rd race meeting. We still really have no idea who's going to come out on top of the championship. It's almost shades of this season's Formula E championship, really. John-Eric Verne really didn't come to the fore until quite late on in that championship. That was all mostly down to the incredibly competitive qualifying format. Here it's just a straight out 15-minute dash for pole, and traffic could be an issue. It is one of the shorter laps that we go to on the calendar, and we'll see if that becomes an issue for anybody. We're on board here with our current pole sitter Mark Fletcher, who's currently on a qualifying hot lap. He was flashing the lights on his way to the line, and he's now coming up to a bit of traffic where you really don't want to
to see it. And this is Nicholas Helm that's just in front of us, I think, in the Nomad Sim Racing white. Let's see if he can get by him or if he interrupts his lap at all. So far, he's put new personal bests in Sector 1 and Sector 2. Coming into the final few corners now. That hits that apex okay. What about the final one? That all looks fine. Goes right up to the edge of the wall. Let's see if he can improve on his provisional pole time, which is a 1:23.545. Over the line he goes, and it is a 23.6, just under a tenth of a second slower than his provisional pole time. And at tracks like this, Sam, where they're very short, it's going to be down to the hundredths and the thousandths. They're going to separate these guys. This 48-car field that's taken part in this qualifying session and this 90-minute race.
Yes, and of course, if we do have a pile-up, we can deploy the safety car. Personally, I can't, unfortunately, but Adam can, apparently. So, you know, decent amount of pressure. We saw yesterday in the Formula 1, anyone who didn't see it, well, what were you doing? Possibly watching the 24 Hours of Spa, which I heard was quite good as well, to be fair. But the F1 race yesterday was very good, and that had 4 safety cars. Personally, you know, have 4 safety cars every race. You know, that would really mix up the action. And a bit of rain as well for this one. You may have to wait a couple of years, though, for that. But no, hopefully we won't see any pile-ups like that as we enter the last minute now of qualifying. Remember, the drivers can finish that they start, and I think this will be Christian Chalaner's last lap. He's got 45 seconds, and he is a very rapid driver, but I don't think he'll be able to get round. And you'll see around this circuit, there's pretty much nowhere to overtake, apart from turn 3 after that long back straight. Pretty much apart from that, even this one, so easy to defend because you can see it really narrows on corner entry. So easy to defend there. There's pretty much nowhere you can overtake. So this qualifying session, undoubtedly the most important all season long. And Chalaner, currently in 5th place, has an opportunity to maybe mix it with his teammates to currently occupy the front row of the grid.
See what he can do then. Oh, he can bounce off the rev limiter there as he goes into the final 2 corners. It was a purple sector 1. See if the checker flag is now out, so everybody now has to finish their laps. Let's see if this is going to be enough to put Christian Chalaner up into the upper echelons of the grid. It is.
Bosh.
Onto the front row with a 23.575, just 300ths of a second away from pole.
2 1,000s faster than Kochok's, unless Kochok's can do something, got a little bit of damage on that portion. Remember, if these drivers hit... Oh, well, that's it. Yeah, I'm not surprised that's it, to be honest. If these drivers hit the wall, remember, on their qualifying lap, that's their lap done. They pick up a 0x, that lap is invalidated, and so that's why the drivers are being so careful. If it weren't for that, they'd probably be skimming the walls every so often, but instead you've got to keep it just within the walls. In the race, though, the drivers will be skimming the walls just a bit. Pretty much everyone will have an incident or 2. And they won't be penalised too much for that one. But of course, they do also want to keep their incidents as low as possible. If you get 0 incidents, you get some bonus points. And if you get a lot of incidents, you get some penalty points. So, and with the lack of grass here, you're either out of the race because you've crashed, or you could potentially have a completely clean race. And those bonus points could be very important at the end of the championship.
Really could be. Into the pits here comes Miguel Freitas. And the only car left circulating on the track is... we've got a couple here. This is Ross McFarlane we're looking at, and I think just in front of him is, as we pull away, it's one of the Chalaner, yeah, who just set that P2 time. He's obviously not going to be able to improve on that. Chris Woods just retired back to the pits. He was on the back straight, and these guys will now trundle back through to the pits, and we'll be able to run you through the grid. It is a full pace lap here, I think, around Belle Isle. I think they do the full pace laps for the North American circuits, so we have got a bit of time to run you through the grid. I am right in thinking, I can't remember whether they put them...
Yes, I believe you are correct. There's pretty much nowhere else where you could line them up.
Maybe the back straight.
Maybe, yeah, to be fair.
We'll have to wait and see. But anyway, we'll see now, in fact. Qualifying sessions just completed. Let's run you through the grid, how they're going to line up for the one and only race of the day. I had to have a say in that just for this week. It is Mark Fletcher that starts on pole position, with Christian Chalaner in second, just 300ths of a second behind. Laszlo Kotrox in third, then Mike Partington in fourth. Fifth for Keith Camilleri, then Brian Lockwood, the championship leader this time a week ago, starting in sixth. And Carl Janssen, the reigning champion, in 7th. Then Ross McFarlane in P8. Michael Avdoka in 9th and 10th for BritTech Sim Sports. Chris Daines. Nicholas Helm, top AM driver, starting in 11th today. Then it's Andy Scheel in 12th. Moving on further back, you've got Ben Hackerson, Christian Rose starting there in 14th. Billy Fletcher 15th. And what do you know, it isn't a full pace lap. We were wrong. Ben Palmer in 16th, then Steve Baxter. Miguel Freitas, an AM driver, doing pretty well there. I think he's third out of everybody there in the AM class. Then Tony Baird and Barry Baird running out the top 20. 21st on the grid is Dave Baker, 7/10 of a second away, but that's how far down the field you are if you're 3/4 of a second away in this championship. And he's joined by a fellow all-star from the Apex Racing TV / iRacing eSport Network coverage, and it's Josh Thompson. Jake Blackwell starting in P23, then Lewis Bibby in 24th, Richard Warmingham 25th, then Chris Wood, Brandon Tabone in 27th, then Marco Namella in 28th. 29th on the grid is James Eagleston, Dan Kraft there for CQ Evolution in 30th. Then we've got a flurry of Pro-Ams in Mike Gray, Dennis Eipenberg, Matt Bunn, Mark Woodhouse, Pete Newman and Sharon Kaiser. And then we've got Edward Raprager, Jason Dilworth, Michael Blake for Simmortal Smile Time, Ben Gregory in 40th, then Jack McIntyre, Rob Cuss, Paul Gosling, Edward May, and then towards the back of the field we have got John Tusting, Ronald Moons, Dan McCauley and Ethan Bass starting at the back in 48th place. A long line of cars, Sam, and we're getting the formation, well, the small formation lap underway. Let's hope for not too many pile-ups, otherwise we will have to trigger that safety car. We are serving as almost race control and the broadcasters today.
Yes, not just a couple of corners completed for these drivers. It's a Radicals Online 1-2. You imagine they're not going to come together, and we could be in for a terrific 90-minute race. The action down here is going to be amazing as Mark Fletcher floors it. He's away.
Through the final kink we go then. Green lights are on. The field have pretty much stayed within there. You can see the race official waving his green flag, and we are underway for an hour and a half enduro here in the World GT Championship. It's Fletcher from Challoner, then it's Cottrocks, Partington. They all get a little bit of air over the top of the hill, and it looks like for the most part everybody's got through the first two corners without incidents. Nobody's dropping down the order or anything, which is good to see. You can't win the race in the first corner, but you can definitely make it harder for yourself. And they know that we've got an hour and a half to go here. There's a bit of side-by-side action in the background as everybody tries to find their own bit of track. That's the KC racing car that we're looking at. Keith Camilleri trying to get by the reigning champion Carl Janssen. And now everybody going into single file. But now we're coming onto the back straight, Sam, and an opportunity if the car in front makes a mistake to try and apply some early pressure.
Yes, but as long as you keep your car to the right side of the track, it's very difficult to get past your opponent. You kind of got to surprise them a little bit. And you can see them all checking up a little bit. The driver on the inside has a big advantage here. Well, tell that to these two. Then that says that McFarlane may go around the outside as the car's in the wall. It's Miguel Freitas. No, it's not Freitas.
Oh, somebody else is around.
As we've got another driver now, Barry Baird for Nomad Sim Racing. And look at the amount of positions that he's losing. Trying to get back onto the circuit, maybe had a little bit of traction control, couldn't spin the car around. But maybe Ronald Moon's also getting caught up in that one. But yeah, those two are right at the back of the field now.
Oh dear, Steve Baxter's out, so problem for him already in the V-Racer car. It was Freitas that hit the wall at the end of the backstraight. We saw that. Here's what happened to Baxter then. What is going to happen here? Is it going to be into the double right-hander? It is easy to go off there. Remember Andrew Whithouse doing so. Oh, he locks up the brakes and into the tyre barrier he goes. One rule in this championship is that you do get a fast repair here, but I'm amazed that he wasn't able to get back to the pits under his own steam with that. But yeah, Baxter, not what he would have wanted. End of the opening lap then. Here's Fletcher from Challoner, then it's Cottrocks, Partington, Lockwood, McFarlane in 6th, Janssen 7th, Camilleri down 3 places to 8th, Daines 9th and Avdoka rounding out the top 10 with Nicholas Helm, our top AM driver, dropping 2 places to 13th at the end of lap 1.
Yeah, 2 places gained for McFarlane, up into 6th place. Janssen, quite underwhelming there. Usually, yeah, once again, usually he doesn't do too well in qualifying, and yeah, is usually sitting in that 7th place. But usually he can kind of gain some positions. But around this place, going to be difficult for him from 7th place to make a challenge for the win. Also, Lockwood up 1 place, Camilleri cost down 3 places. You can see Fletcher, he's in for the long haul. He knows what this is going to take, but this is terrific for Radicals Online, occupying the first 3 positions. You are going to see a couple of pit stops in this race. I believe the drivers are limited to... so we've got a car a little bit slow on the inside there. The drivers are limited to 90% fuel, and so they will be forced to make one pit stop during the race.
Now Steve Baxter coming back out onto the track again. You can see his car there look good as new. Shows that the fast repair rule applies to even the enduro races. Michael Evdoka here in the TechSense Fitstyle car has got a bit of damage to the front of his car, and it looks like he may have struck the wall at the end of the back straight. Let's see what befell car 989. It's right on board with him, in fact. Everything's fine here. In fact, he's got a healthy buffer in front. Is he going to make the right-hander? Oh, no. I'm sure he was clenching in there. Doesn't look like too much damage, but I don't know what they'll do in terms of straight line speed. I guess at a track like Belle Street Circuit, the straight line speed might not be too much of a problem around here, Sam, but you don't want anything affecting the downforce, otherwise you're going to be really in trouble trying to get through the corners.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, your chances are you're going to be stuck behind someone during the race. Chances are there's going to be a driver who overperformed in qualifying. He's basically just holding everyone up, and because no one can make a move, you're just in a train. So you don't actually have to be necessarily the fastest. It's just about reducing those mistakes as much as possible and lining yourself up for a good strategy potentially. Evdoka under pressure from behind currently from Billy Fletcher. Already up one place is Fletcher. Also Josh Thompson down in 20th place. He's up 2 places. Michael Nomello as well, 11 places up in 17th. But Evdoka's under big pressure here. You can see how close the driver behind the Fletcher is staying. And he's a little bit early on the brakes. Are Mark and Billy Fletcher brothers? Or any relation? As Josh Thompson are too. Well, that's a curse, isn't it? And, he's gone.
Well, hopefully that's not the end of Josh Thompson tonight. We see him again. What's going to happen here? It looks like it's already happened by this point. Oh no. Well, might have involved Mark Woodhouse. Let's take a look. Oh no, this is even further behind. Let's have a look actually at what happened to Mark Woodhouse in the Team Maz car. He's just going at the end of the back straight. Is he gonna... Oh no, that's completely not of his own doing. That was, I think, Jason Dilworth that he went into the back of there, and he gets going again. I'm just intrigued to know what on earth happened to Josh Thompson here. This might explain things. We're riding on board with him. Just that inside cover bit. Oh! Was that enough to destabilise the car? Either way, he pulls over to the side of the road.
He's quit the session, unfortunately, so maybe just a bit fed up. And Josh isn't used to being in those places and probably hasn't done a whole lot of practice for his championship. 3 bad rounds to start off the season. First round he wasn't even around, so yeah, this championship is going to be very tough one. Remember, the driver who's really fought for the title for the past 2 seasons was lost out both occasions due to a mixture of reasons. But yeah, this season 6 already getting away from it. Here's Janssen, and I did say at the start, Janssen's extremely quick. The reigning champion, of course, and probably the favourite for this championship as well. But you can see the driver ahead, as long as he just stays to the right, there's nothing that Janssen can do. This would be brave, but you're pretty much asking to go into the wall if you're going to go around the outside there, and you're asking to go in the wall if you want to go around the outside there. But Janssen may have just found himself an opportunity, and down the inside goes Carl Janssen, and that is a really good move. Just got the cutback in each of them and forced the mistake, and absolutely took 100% advantage of it when it arose.
Fantastic move by Carl Janssen. Here it is again on a replay. See how he gets it done. So he goes to the outside into the first part of the complex, gets the old cutback. Look how much air he had there, and somehow they don't hit each other. God, that car was all over the place there, the one of Brian Lockwood, and up the inside, quick as a flash, goes Carl Janssen, the Swede, up into 5th position. We've found the problem for Josh Thompson. Wheel problems causing him to stay stuck in gear, and he was having the same issue in qualifying, hence why he's starting so far down the order. So that is a disaster for him. He's saying his championship's over. Let's not forget he's already used his drop score at Brands Hatch when he wasn't there either. So not totally writing out Josh Thompson's chances here, but I will agree with him there that his work is significantly cut out, and we're only at the third race meeting of the season.
Yeah, we're fifth the way through the season, and hopefully Josh will be back. And also, to be honest, we kind of want Josh out of the championship, because when he's got no pressure on him, he could be a real thorn in the side of the guys who are fighting for the championship, which could be a fascinating dynamic. So yeah, hopefully he'll certainly win many races this season. He's already won one race, of course, so far this season. So out in the lead, still Fletcher, 1 second ahead of Challenger, but these radicals just aren't pulling away. Personally, I feel as though Janssen, who's already getting up to the back of Partington, might just be the fastest driver out there. But of course, if he can't, if he's stuck in 5th place, he can't really do much.
Fastest lap of the race from Janssen on that last lap as well. Shows the progress that he's making. Jake Blackall into the pits. Hopefully that is for something scheduled and not because some more bad luck has befell him, because he literally has no luck at all. Blackall, trying to find him on our cameras. He's somewhere behind that advertising board, and he's going to pull away again. So he's got a brand new car, but he's going to be down at best inside the top 40. May even be lower than that, but yeah, away goes Jake Blackall. And here is Mike Partington. He is the next car to feel the pressure from Carl Janssen. It's an okay view out front, but out the back he's definitely going to be looking out of the mirrors here, the Thrustmaster Movano car. Into the complex we go. This is where Janssen was so brilliantly able to get by. Whoa, nearly up to the back of him. Through the triple series of left-handers, now on the brakes into the right-hander. You can hear the BMW crackling under braking, the exhaust. Now into the final 2 corners where you definitely can't get a move done there without one of you going off into the wall. Remember that from the BSRTC days. Slightly better run by Janssen as well on the exit, the right-hander through the final kink, onto the front straight again. 125.0 getting done. That's not too far away from what they were doing at the start of the race, so no signs of too much tyre wear as they fly over that crest. That's where the safety car crashed in that IndyCar race last season. Too close, maybe a little luck there from Janssen, but if anything, as he just rejoined from House of... Oh, careful! Round the outside goes Janssen. Oh, just as it looked like that Partington may have been about to put some pressure on Kochrock, Sam. It was very nearly a quarter panel into the wall between him and Janssen.
Yeah, there was a tad unnecessary. I think they may have just made a small amount of contact. And here we are once again, Partington having to defend. 2 World Championship drivers, remember, going side by side here at Belle. And Janssen is super deep on the brakes, but he realised that there's no chance round there. So many drivers have buried themselves in that tyre wall or that concrete wall. He does not want to be one of them. Now, I really hope a few drivers make a move into this one, because when you can catch the other driver unawares into that hairpin, it is the best feeling, because and there's really no other places to overtake easily. Certainly, just got to catch your rival on the surprise. But Janssen losing a little bit of time, but crucially, he's not losing much time to the leader. He's still only about 3 seconds off the lead, despite in 5th place.
Looking here at Mike Gray, who's just passed James Eagleston on this lap. It's a good opportunity to bring you some progress in the Pro-Am category. It's Nicholas Helm that leads the way, Miguel Freitas in second, 8 seconds away, and then it's Mike Gray promoted up to 3rd place, and then Eagleston in 4th for Year 1 Motorsport, Year 1 Simsport I should say, and then Matt Bunn in 5th with Kaiser, Newman, Rappridge, Eipenberg, Gregory rounding up the top 10 in that class as we check in back of how it looks overall. Mike Gray in 24th. Ben Palmer right behind Mark, just a fraction of a second behind Marco Namella, who looks like he may have just clipped the wall on that lap. Biggest move in the field by him and Ethan James Bass have both gained 13 positions so far in this race. So a great job by these guys.
Daniel Cuffs, though.
Oh yeah. What has happened here?
Oh well, not much on that car. You wouldn't know it.
Now I know that the tyre barriers don't often show up the damage. Let's have a look and see. It may just be a clip with the wall made. Oh, he slams on the brakes.
Oh wow.
He's a brave as well, putting it into reverse. Good job there. Doesn't hit anything and gets going again. A bit like A bit like Kimi Raikkonen in the German Grand Prix yesterday. He was able to use his skills to avoid the wall that Leclerc, Hamilton and Hulkenberg both hit.
Such a good race. I still can't get over how good that race was. But no, hopefully we can recreate something here as Partington again having to go defensive against Janssen. Can Janssen find the inside? No. Yeah, Janssen's a very responsible driver and he can pull off some fantastic overtakes as we've already seen today, but he doesn't usually go for rash overtakes, so expect this to be quite measured. Just cannot get to the right side of the track. You just got to find the inside of the circuit before your opponent can block it off. And undoubtedly Partington blocking it off as early as he possibly can down the straight. But you can see these guys are so quick, they're fighting one another and they're keeping up with ease with the drivers ahead. We saw Partington almost make a move on Kochrox on that last lap. So if Janssen can just get this one done, then you know, he'll really fancy his chance on the cars ahead as Partington almost into the back of Kochrox. And well, that's the confidence that he's got, and those BMWs really going well, and also Baron Lockwood as well, keeping up with these guys.
Fantastic scrap this. In terms of the teams, it's Radicals Online Motor that are leading the way, then it's Radicals Online Turn Racing in second and third, and it's Thrustmaster Movano Racing in fourth, and then CQR in fifth place. So we've got 5 of some of the best teams on the iRacing service in the top 5 positions, with, let's not forget, Brian Lockwood, who was leading the points after the opening race meeting of the season in 6th place. As again, on the defensive goes Partington. For a brief moment there, Janssen was ahead and runs wide as the Swede on the exit in the second corner. A bit of light flashing as well. Don't think that's going to deter Partington too much, but Janssen can sense that Mark Fletcher ever so slightly starting to pull away maybe at the front. Maybe he's thinking about the bigger picture and trying to get the leaders. Who is this getting laps? This is, I think that's John Tusting in the Team GB Sports, maybe, I think. Yeah, it is, yeah. Getting laps in the all-white BMW as the Porsche of Kochrox now starts to feel the pressure from Partington. It ebbs and flows, this battle, as they fly over the bumpy surface and into the complex once again. Found the fountain section. 15 minutes in the books here. On a normal day would be 5 minutes away from the checkered flag, but we've still got an hour and a quarter to go here, plus some pit stops too. And no, it's probably a silly thing to ask, Sam, with the drivers here being at such a high level, but obviously they're used to racing 20-minute stints at a time, but they're racing 90 minutes today. Do you reckon fatigue could be a problem, especially on a street circuit like this further down the line?
I think so, yeah, and to keep your concentration up for the entire race. Unfortunately for these guys, I think the more intense it gets, but certainly personally, you know, the more intense the racing is, the more I concentrate. And so these guys, they won't exactly be relaxing at this point in the race. They'll know how close it is. And also, in the traffic there, it seemed like Fletcher just lost a bit of time. And so you can see, you know, it's quite incredible this. The top 10 drivers are separated by 4 seconds currently. You can see them all in the same shot. And well, I'll take this opportunity to thank everyone who's tuned into the iRacing Esports Network. As Janssen, as this is the opportunity, he tries to get to the inside of the track. He can't do it though, and that was maybe half a chance. Not sure who hit the wall there, whether that was him or Partington. But you can see Partington going right to the inside. He has opened the door though for Janssen, but he didn't quite commit to it. I think that was just going to be too risky. Would have had such an acute angle, and with the positioning of that curb, would have probably launched himself right over it. But this is terrific racing. I hope all you guys tuning in right now are enjoying this as much as we are up in the commentary box, because, well, once again, we talked about this season, don't know who's going to win. I have no idea who's going to win this race. And, yeah, top 10, ever so close. I'm seeing reds between each of the drivers, which indicates that they're all very close, basically.
Well, yeah, so going on to that back straight, it looked like that Partington just maybe turned in a bit too early, clipped the wall, and then Janssen sensed this opportunity as he nearly goes into the wall himself on the exit of turn 2, and very nearly got it done, but it was once again fantastic braking by Partington to get it done. Janssen, no, this time, he's element of surprise! Both into the wall! Hopefully this doesn't cause a monumental pile-up, otherwise I will have to deploy the safety car. Looks like everybody has got through, but it is Lockwood that has come off the worst for wear. Completely innocent party and all that as well, Sam.
Yeah, and I said earlier on our drivers were going to ricochet off the walls. Well, in the end, it was two drivers ricocheting off one another. And Brian Lockwood, ever so unlucky, had superb pace, had a chance to win this race perhaps. Here's Janssen, he went for the surprise move. It looks good.
Oh, he's out of control before he even turned in, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he was going to make the apex. I think he was going to run wide. They're always going to make contact. But, I mean, the stewards, personally for me, that is 110% a racing incident. But it was from Janssen. He knew that he had to do something spectacular. And, well, that was spectacular.
One more look from Brian Lockwood. Totally innocent party in all this. I'll have to wait and see what the stewards think. Here he is on board. He sees Janssen go for the move there. And, oh, there's nothing you could do in that situation, really. Track completely blocked, and not even a safety car from us would have helped Brian Lockwood avoid that. Looks like, though, he won't have to come into the pits, something that Mike Partington has had to do. He's come in, got a fast repair. I don't even know if he's hit his pit box yet, actually, because he's qualified so far up the grid. He gets a pit box right at the very end at the pit lane. Wonder if he might try and turn this into a scheduled stop, Sam. You know probably the maths more than me, especially with this 90% fuel load. But could he get to the end from here?
Unfortunately not. The fuel will go, I think, like this is a low fuel consumption circuit, remember, of course, because, well, you're going really slow for the most part. So I think the drivers can go about 55 minutes, but we've got 1 hour 10 to go. So even if he fuel saves a lot, it's not going to be worth it. And also, it's not the longest pit lane around here, so the pit lane loss shouldn't be too bad. But look at this, they were looking in trouble, were the Radical drivers. They had a queue of 7 cars behind them. All of a sudden, they're in a race of their own. 4 seconds ahead of Ross McFarlane. He's now at 4 places from his start. Keith Camilleri, I think, may have picked up a bit of damage from... No, I think, yeah, it was Camilleri. I think he got a bit of nose damage from it, but you wouldn't know with the pace he's got. And, yeah, McFarlane, haven't really paid too much attention to him, but very under the radar. It'll be interesting to see now if Janssen can come back, because he had superb pace, as you could see. I think is the fastest driver out there. And as long as he hasn't got too much damage, I wouldn't rule him out of challenging those top 3 later on.
As I say, at the risk of throwing you under the bus, Sam, I think the YouTube live chat is definitely not in agreement with your racing incident opinion on Carl Janssen. I must say I may have a tiny bit of agreement with them, just because when we saw on board with Janssen there, he was a bit out of control under. Well, he wasn't out of control under braking. But hey,
I like crashes, you know. I'm up for incidents, you know.
Ever the diplomatic Sam Fitzpatrick, whatever the word is for a person that's diplomatic. the diplomatic Sam Fitzpatrick here. I think, yeah. Oh, as I hear a bit of crashing. In fact, I think it might be Dan McCauley. I think he might have just jumped back to the pits. But yeah, that's what Sam Fitzpatrick thinks. I think if we both were in the stewards together, I think we'd be having a differing of opinions maybe on that. I might say, I probably am going to say it's Carl Janssen's fault, but anyway, you are right in terms of the top 3. It's a Radical's dream right now, with something that Mercedes couldn't get at Germany yesterday. It's 1, 2, 3. Mark Fletcher, Christian Challoner and Laszlo Kotrox 1, 2, 3 in the field at the moment. Here is Ross McFarlane currently fending off the attack of Keith Camilleri. Carl Janssen, he is down but not out. He's in 7th, trying to get 6th away from Chris Daines. Another BMW's trying to get by, and a driver that's had a good start so far. 6th place, 4 positions gained up to 6th. And then behind him we've got the Ferrari of Andy Shield, Ben Hackerson in the Radicals Online Motor Ferrari also, and then Nicholas Helm running at the top 10. Top AM driver as well in the top 10. John Roberts also agreeing with the Carl Janssen's fault thing, Sam. Not that I'm trying to rub it in or anything. As we switch back to one of the pro-am drivers here, Miguel Freitas, who had a bit of flirting with the wall earlier, but he's up behind Dave Baker, who didn't have the best of qualifying sessions today, former BSRTC champion, and he's now having to withstand the pressure from the BMW, which is looking quite good around this track, it must be said.
Yeah, it seems to maybe deal with the bumps. Apparently it's just very drivable, is the BMW. You can kind of just put it on any circuit and you know that you're going to be competitive straight away. And Freitas, who had a little bit of door banging, I think, on the opening lap, so I'm in quite an epic battle. 1 place down from where he started, so yeah, did lose some places on that opening lap, but yeah, trying to come back currently against Baker. So during Kaiser as well, up to 24th place, up 12 places, and yeah, long way to go until the pit stops for these drivers. The pit stop window should open in about 10 minutes, so those drivers who have got a bit of damage on their car, they can come into the pits a little bit early, pick up that fast repair, although of course you are risking it. If you then make one mistake over the next 45 minutes, then you're not going to be able to take part in the rest of the race because, well, you're not going to have any fast repairs left. So it'll be interesting, that one, how gutsy the drivers are, whether it pays off for them or not, because certainly, you know, pit stop can get you out of traffic, you can fix your car, you can have a faster car. It's certainly a possibility.
Yeah, it's almost like a review in cricket. If once you've used it, that is it. And they'll have to live with their decision from then on. They'll just be hoping that they don't crash into anything. Oh god, what have I done here? There we go. Looking at this battle for 18th and 19th overall, it's getting a bit dicey again between Carl Janssen and Chris Daines. Carl Janssen racing on under a cloud after his collision that resulted in Brian Lockwood dropping down to oh god, where did he drop down to after that? Down to a 17th place after the collision at the end of the back straight. Don't know what we'll see in terms of that when we get to the next race meeting. Worth reminding everybody that the World GT Championship is on for quite a few more months here in the next few weeks and months in the World GT Championship. Of course, you'll be able to see all the action here on the iRacing Esports Network. After this race meeting, we go to Zolder in Belgium. That is in 2 weeks' time, so we have a week off after this. Then we go to Imola in Italy before going to Monza, then Spa, Motegi, Kota, Silverstone, Road America, Okayama in Japan, Watkins Glen, Montreal, Sekishio Villeneuve, and then finally Laguna Seca in California, which will bring the curtain down on the season. I believe that's the 16th of December, so still a long way to go in this championship, and plenty of twists and turns to unfold. And that's just in this race as well. Matt Bunn has had an incident somewhere, so too Jake Blackhall. Let's see what has taken place between these two regulars to the channel. This is Matt Bunn's incident. This is the end of the back straight. He's got a Team Mad car in front of him. Is he going to just miss? Oh, he locks up. Doesn't hit anything, but he slowed down enough to trigger the has crashed issue. This is Jake Blackhall. Oh dear. That is a year one car. That was Ethan James Bass. That from there didn't really look like he could have done anything at all. Let's have a look actually. Oh no, it wasn't Bass actually. It was oh god, it was the other year one car. It was Dennis Eipenberg. Let's have a look from his on board. Turns in. Oh. I think Blackhall wasn't going to make the corner anyway. Dennis turned in and saw a massive CQR car there. That probably didn't help matters. He's now got damage to the front and to the rear. But as Sam was saying, when the pit stop window opens, he can come in and get that fast repair. Well, for second place heating up, this is Christian Schallner, and behind him is Laszlo Kotrox. Both driving for the same team, Radicals Online Turn Racing. Schallner from the UK, Laszlo Lee from Hungary. Indeed he is, there you go. Nice new updated livery this week where you can see the car models. I know the organisers have been trying their best to get that one, along with Pascal, the ever so brilliant technician that builds this overlay for us all the time. And as we approach the 1/3 distance in this race, Sam, inter-team battle brewing here, and I wonder what could happen in terms of the pit stops. Is it almost like the F1 where if you're the car in front you get priority on who comes in if you're racing for the same team? Is that what you do with the Tech Sense Fitstike guys?
Well, I mean, of course, in this series you don't have to share pit stall, and so the drivers can pretty much pit whenever they like. That would be a cool element, undoubtedly. It would take a lot of work, I imagine, for iRacing to come up with that one. But yeah, I imagine these guys would just go as long as possible on the fuel. But and also, they're probably in the same Discord. I always find that a little bit weird when drivers crash into one another, what they say on Discord afterwards, or TeamSpeak, or whatever system that they use. Because, you know, it must get a bit frosty, I imagine. I personally don't know what I would say to someone who are just absolutely smashed into oblivion. But at the moment, I don't think they are going to crash into one. Kochuk's staying relatively patient behind. They're both keeping up on the race leader, crucially. And also Ross McFarlane as well behind. Isn't dropping too far behind. He's still 4 seconds behind. You can see him just in the background there. Janssen can't get past Danes. I wonder if maybe that incident earlier on, racing incident or not, has knocked his confidence a little bit, as Rob Cuss, unfortunately, has had to retire from the race, and I imagine he's absolutely slammed this barrier.
Oh.
Yep. Oh, he's a bit unlucky to pick up that much damage, though.
Yeah, very unlucky, because usually the tyre barriers give you a bit more give. And just as someone on the YouTube chat said, what a lovely sight seeing all those 3 red cars covering the top 3, we cut to a Radicals Online car in the wall. Sorry about that. So here they are again for you. And good battle building here. This is another Radicals Online car. This is Billy Fletcher trying to close down Nicholas Helm, the Pro-Am leader, who's currently sat inside the top 10, so doing a pretty good job at the moment. It is a Ferrari versus Ferrari scrap. And what we're getting to see here is the Pro-Am drivers really mixing it up with the pros, and it's just like I know we keep bringing it up, but it was the F1 on Sunday, and we got to see Valtteri Bottas really have his work cut out trying to get past Valtteri Bottas. It was trying to get by Lance Stroll, which was causing much amusement in this particular household here when that was going on. And in fact, Bottas tried so hard to get by, they ended up crashing out as nearly crashing into the back of the Nomad Sim Racing white car. There was Billy Fletcher as he had a little look at the inside. And this is what you get in this series. You do get the Pro-Am drivers, the Davids as you were, taking on the Goliaths of Radicals Online Motap here. Maybe not the best analogy to do, but I guess it kind of works with the Pro and the Pro-Ams. Not that I'm saying that not that I'm saying that Nicholas Helm is in any way seriously inferior to the Radicals Online guys, but as Fletcher clips the wall there on the exit of turn 2, but it's a good fight nonetheless.
Yes, and of course when you've got the reverse grids as we usually have, that really does give an opportunity, because you're going to have some AM drivers who have a lower iRating, mid 2000 iRating potentially. Some guys who've got 8,000 iRacing, and there's really no other place where you can have that. Certainly official racing, they qualify ahead of you and they pull away from you, but it really does kind of open your eyes and can be very useful for drivers. And sorry, just to cut back to the F1 again, but when Lance Stroll led the race, I mean, I've been watching F1 for over 10 years, and that was one of the best moments I ever saw when went on slick tyres from 14th place in the lead. Glorious. I don't think anyone's going to be able to pull off a strategy like that out there today, but just looking at the timer, 31 minutes in, we are approaching the pit stop range. I assume these drivers have to do 1 pit stop. That's what the fuel indicates. However, there might be an extra rule which says you have to pit 2 times, but I don't believe that is the case. So these drivers limited to 90% fuel. GTEs usually go about an hour, around here a little bit longer. So they're very nearly at the fuel window where they can come into the pits, get that fast repair. And I imagine the first driver who would come into the pits is probably Carl Janssen, I imagine, because he's probably got a bit of damage on that car, and he's also still stuck behind Chris Daines.
I want to comment on the YouTube chat, just saying if there's any way to differentiate between Billy Fletcher and Mark Fletcher. I am working on it to see if we can. Not too sure if we can on that. But I think there is a way of getting their first names up on the screen. We can... Oh, hello. Hear a bit of contact. Oh dear, who is it? Maybe they're all just clipping the wall
I think
on
they're
the
just
exit.
giving the wall. Yeah.
Okay, that might help for a bit. You can see Mark Fletcher there leading, then it's Christian Challoner in second, and Laszlo Kochok's in third. Ronald Moons has had an issue and jumped back to the pits. There's Billy Fletcher, there he goes, jumping over the curb. Good battle going on here, and this is a nice gaggle of cars. We've got Christian Rose here in 15th. He's chasing down Michael Evdoku, who's got quite a bit of damage to the front of that car. He'll be hoping this pit stop doesn't come along soon enough, really, for him. Then it's Brian Lockwood on the comeback trail after his misfortune in the Carl Janssen incident. And then it's Chris Wood behind in the BMW as well. Let's see if Lockwood can get it done. The American racing at a track in the same country as him. See if he can get it done as they come onto the front straight. Of course, you can see the windscreen a bit dusty there. They do get a tear off when they come into the pits. Through the first corner, that inside curb's pretty fine to go over. That one, not too bad. And then ride the crest of that hill onto the back straight. Porsche trying to get by the Ferrari. Evdoka's going to be really suffering in terms of straight line speed. Can he get it done though? Look how much Lockwood closes up under braking as well. These two going wheel to wheel is not helping matters. Evdoka's been passed. Is he going to get past twice? Whoa, Lockwood really clenching in there. Is he going to try and go around the outside here? Evdoka with the green wing mirrors. Makes sure he closes the door. And this is going to be agonising for Lockwood, because off up the road goes Christian Rose, and he knows he can get by. Maybe now's his chance, Sam. Oh!
Yep. Oh, he's going to look to the inside. There's no room there. Well, maybe a little bit of room. Did pull up. Here comes Lockwood. Evdoka just working around the outside. Evdoka was saying last week how when Carl Janssen got past him, he was like, well, you know what? I'm just going to deal with the race from this point onwards. I'm not going to get flustered by it. I'm not going to try to fight him back. I think that maybe had the same mentality against Rose. He hasn't really got the same mentality against Lockwood. He's got doing everything to keep him behind. And Carl Janssen, well, I made the correct call for once, and you know, jot this down, because I imagine most people disagree with everything that I've said so far today. But especially concerning Carl Janssen. But well, there you go. I was right on that one. He will probably not take tyres. Someone after on the chat, but it is a possibility. If they really want to take tyres, then they can do. They'll 26 seconds to take tyres. But you can see there, yeah, didn't take tyres. Just some fuel, faster pair, and back out into the race. But you can see he's in quite a bit of traffic, and just joining this race again, it's going to be quite difficult.
Look who he's with as well, Mike Partington, who they both collided in this very corner here. It'd be foolish to think that anything would happen going into the right-hander at the end of the circuit. Partington down in 28th place after coming in very early on lap 13, in fact, for a fast repair after the collision between these two. Janssen gets going in 27th place, a 17-second stop. It looks like some of the year one cars also came in as well. Edward Raprager in for an 18-second stop too. Edward May looks like he had a crash on this lap, but didn't come back to the pit, so it may have just been a small error.
I think Raprager towed back to the pits.
Yes.
He jumped to first place momentarily. So disappointing for Edward, a Joe who's probably not doing too much of the OV8 Supercar series. That's every other Saturday on our YouTube channel, Apex Racing TV. As Evdoka's now into the pits, and pretty much as we expected, because he's got a bit of damage as well. And these drivers sticking to the form book, or whatever book that they're reading. And yeah, we'll get that car fixed. But of course, yeah, it's so difficult. You're putting a lot of pressure on yourself to take the fast repair this early, because remember, for someone like Evdoka and for someone like Janssen, does 5th place and 10th place that make much of a difference when you have 15 rounds? It's more about just finishing the race in the top 20, scoring some decent points. And so they are running it pretty risky for two drivers who are fighting for the title. Certainly Janssen's fighting for the overall title, and Evdoka's also fighting for the team's title as well for Bitside Motorsport, because they're currently leading the AM standings there. So yeah, interesting tactics for both.
Yeah, because they've still got over half the race to go, let's not forget. We're only 37 minutes into this, and we're still over half it to go. These guys are definitely not coming into the pits this time. They carry on. Apparently, according to the YouTube chat, Mark Fletcher is learning this track for the very first time, so he's definitely making us not look like he's learning it for the first time. He's got a 2-second lead over Christian Challoner in second. Then it's Laszlo Kochoks in third, just 0.2 of a second away. Then it's a 3.4 second gap back to this little battle between Ross McFarlane and Keith Camilleri. Into the right-hander at the end of the back straight. No way of getting any move done there. As in the background, Chris Daines and Chris Daines has just got ahead of. Oh, guys, that is Ben Gregory in the TechSense Fitstyle Motorsport car. That's just a lap away, a lap down. And then the next car after that is all the way back here. Andy Scheel in 7th place, 3.9 seconds down the road. And in terms of the next battle, it is here. It is Billy Fletcher, Nicholas Helm, and Marco Namella, who has gained nearly the most amount of spots out of anybody in the entire field so far. He's gained 17 spots since the start. Even James Bass is the only other driver to have gained more. He's gained 18. And he currently lies in 30th place. So these drivers are the men on the move. And just like Vettel on Sunday, I wonder how far Ethan James Bass can get up, because he started right at the very back. Obviously Vettel started in 20th, not as many cars to get by to get to a podium there. If Ethan can get maybe just a top 20, that would be remarkable really, or maybe even a top 25 considering where he started, and considering it's a track that's not like Hockenheim in any way, Sam, and that it's littered with concrete walls either side of the track.
Yeah, he's not had 4 safety cars either to get him back into play, and he hasn't got that drag strip as well on the outside of turn 16. I mean, have that on all the circuits. I mean, have that on the circuit. I mean, imagine that. That would just be absolutely legendary. And hopefully they'll take notice of that. As almost into the wall there is the driver behind Billy Fletcher, Marco Namella. Namella kind of gained 5 places, 15, about 12 places, sorry, on the start. And then has kind of just waited for everyone else to crash off. But he's absolutely approached this race perfectly as Namella. And very interesting with these guys, because McFarlane's catching up to the top 3. He was 4.5 seconds behind, and he's closing slowly, 2.5 seconds now the gap. And you think Camilleri's been all over the back of him. If Camilleri had free space, you know, he could catch up to the top 3. So don't expect this race to be over and done with for Radicals online. Of course, we're going to have a nice battle amongst the 3 of them, separated by 2.5 seconds. But these 2 could also get involved as well. And Chris Daines as well. Shout out to him how much he's improved this season. And, you know, he's matching the leaders' times at the moment. Really impressive.
Yeah, good scrap indeed. We're only 5 minutes away from the halfway point now in this race, round 3. The 3rd race meeting of the World GT Championship for Season 6 here on the iRacing Esports Network. Quite a few cars a lap down now. Everybody up to about Paul Gosling in 34th have been lapped. Matt Bunn has crashed, so to Dennis Eipenberg. Let's see what happened to the Year 1 Fury Simsport car. He was in the pits for over a minute last time around. Let's see what's going to happen this time. It's at the wall again, isn't it? Fortunately, it's not crabbing at all, it doesn't look like. So, looks like he's got away with that there. So goes back onto the back straight in 37th place. Entering the middle phase of the race now, somewhere. The field stretches out a little bit. Obviously, the order's a bit jumbled up as well because everybody's having their own bit of pit stops, and you can even see by the track map that everybody is pretty much covering every little bit of land on this circuit here. And tell you what, looking at the back, Namella wasn't too far away from trying to make a move on Fletcher there, the BMW. Racecraft Esports, the top Racecraft Esports car now in the field after the moment for Brian Lockwood earlier. He's going to be trying to get past the Radicals Online Motaf car, and these guys are all yet to pit as well, so maybe there is an element of holding back there to maybe see what's going to happen in terms of the pit stops. They may all be running different strategies.
Yeah, and I don't know how this is where experience, of course, you know, really plays, whether or not you're competent getting past some drivers if you pit early. And of course, remember, later on, when other drivers near the back of the field pit, they're going to have to lap them, the likes of Namella. So a winter pit is going to be ever so difficult. But yeah, like the way that Namella's currently driving for race car. Esports, who had a bit of a mare, if I recall correctly, at Snetterton. But great to see them out there again. Of course, driven in various Apex Racing TV leagues over time, and a quickly emerging team, no doubt. But yeah, Namella's putting together a very good race at the moment. Oh, Palmer versus Lockwood. Lockwood's got past Palmer. That's for 13th place, only just behind these guys. I say behind these guys, 10 seconds behind these guys, but not far behind in terms of positions. So that is a position gain then for car number 143, Brian Lockwood. Past Ben Palmer, and he's recovering some positions well after that crash with Carl Janssen earlier.
Nice scrap going on for 16th place. Here it is. It's David Baker. He's still got Miguel Freitas behind him. He's going to be sick of the sight of that Team Mad 999 car by the end of the race as things stand. In fact, he's in a pretty meaty Team Mad sandwich. He's got Chris Wood in front, and then he's got Freitas behind him. In fact, there's a battle. It's... Oh no, Nomella's off.
Oh dear.
The Racecraft Esports car that was the number one after Brian Lockwood's crash has gone off at the same corner that that caused the issues for Lockwood earlier, Sam.
Well, that's another curse. Apologies, Marco. This is how it happened. Has he gone? I think he's really just misjudged this one.
Oh my word.
Yeah, he's really misjudged it, and he's done a terrific job there. Credit to Marco for getting that one out of the way and stopped as well. And also, I think the driver that he was following, he was Billy Fletcher, also kind of turned out of the corner. If he did, this is good peripheral vision. It's a peripheral vision of an owl, and yes, he did. And Billy, the owl Fletcher, did well to avoid that one there, because if he got a side swipe like that on his front corner, that would have been game over. He would have had to have had a tow back to the pits, and if he'd over-rotated a little bit further there, then that would have also been a tow back to the pits. So Fletcher living on the edge. But yeah, it was such a shame for Nomella, because I was praising how well he was driving, how kind of passive he was, and he was just picking up from mistakes, but that was just a lack of concentration there. Just disengaged from the race for a moment and allowed himself to make that error.
Oh, what a moment there.
So
2 tenths of a second then between Camilleri and McFarlane. It's as close as it's ever been, really, between these two. Is this going to be a move for Keith before the pit stops take place? McFarlane putting the car in all the right places. It's going to take a good move, I reckon, to get by the V-Racer driver here. Veteran of the series. Drives in the BSRT season as championship as well, which is a championship really bred on good defensive driving. And he's keeping that Ferrari very at bay. He's definitely driving one of the widest Ferraris on the track right now, as though we've just ticked over into the second half of the race. We've got, I'd say, nearly half the field have come in for their potentially one and only stop. Some of them may be unscheduled, and some of them may be down to crashes. Everybody else is still yet to come in and take that mandatory stop, plus maybe use that fast repair as well. I'd even say, Sam, even if you're just making your one and only stop, you'd still probably take it. It's not worth leaving it there and waiting for a bit further down the line, I guess.
Yeah, I guess if you've got no confidence that you'll keep it out of the wall. I mean, if you've survived an hour and you've not hit the wall, you know, you may as well take that pass. Although maybe you've got no damage to repair, so I'm not sure. But as Camilleri, it's half an opportunity. It's so difficult to go around the outside. You've really got to be so deep on the brakes, and you've got to be prepared to go nose first into a wall if you're going to make this one. And yeah, he backs out of it quite half stayed in there. But it's good defence again from McFarlane. These guys just dropping off the top 3 again. So they got the gap down to 2.5 seconds. Just opened up to 3.5 seconds. If they weren't fighting, you feel as though they'd be clawing themselves even closer. And you can see Chris Danes now only 1 second behind. Danes was as much as about 4 seconds behind earlier on, but he's closing in on these guys slowly in the BMW. And Danes, after today's round, he, with the issues for some other of the top drivers, he might find himself in the top 5 in the championship, which would certainly be do his driving so far this season justice. As Michael Blake makes a move for Team Mad. That was for 26th position, gets past Tony Baird. Or was he defending? Blake was defending, apologies.
Yeah, he did get by there. Brian Lockwood is into the pits. There he is. He'll be very happy to get a brand new car and get going again. Pretty high up the pit order. There you go. There he stops. Will be interesting to see where he comes out here. Carl Janssen has already gone by, so no chance of him getting back by him. Usual pit stop times are around about 15-16 seconds. Give or take. He's already revving the engine and he's going to be away now. 18.38 seconds for Brian Lockwood, and he's going to get going again at best in 24th place, at worst maybe 25th. I think he's going to get going again in a nice pocket of traffic there. You can see from the track map 25th place Michael Evdoka is a bit of a way away, and then Matt Bunn is just a bit further up the road, so he might be able to put in some solid lap times there as the fight for second place continues. Here it is. This is Christian Challoner versus Laszlo Kotrox. They're still within about half a second or so of each other. They're doing pretty well here. In fact, the lead...
Yeah, putting on an exhibition.
Yeah, I think the gap... has the gap for the lead come down a bit now? 1.7 seconds.
It's never really got more than about 2.2. It's kind of been between about 1.5 and 2.5 seconds for the past 15 laps. So we're on lap 35. I mean, it really has raced by this one. It's easy for me, at least, to forget how quick these laps are, because every single one is such a challenge. And when you put together how each one of these corners, you can so easily make a mistake found. And you've got 20-ish corners, 35 laps. I'm not going to do the maths, but that's a lot of corners where you can make a mistake. And these drivers, particularly the top three, have not got a scratch on their car currently. Really impressive driving at the moment. And for the team's championship, this could be a very good day for Radical's online turn. So, yeah, Shine still just ahead. Danes as well and truly caught up to McLaren Camillet, by the way, so that's very close for 4th, 5th and 6th. Shield having a bit of a dull race up there, at the moment in 7th place. He is getting caught a little bit by Ben Haggerson. And of course, Nicholas Helm still leading the way in the Pro-Am drivers. It's in terms of the Pro-Am drivers, it's Helm leading the way a long way ahead of Miguel Freitas in 2nd place, and then it's Mike Gray, James Eagleston, and Pete Newman as well. Those 4 relatively close to one another, but there's a lot more action to come. We're only just gone over the halfway mark, and I will thank everyone who's tuned in so far and stuck with the race. Because, well, so far it's been pretty action-packed, and certainly I've been very entertained, and hopefully you'll stick with us to the end of this race. About 40 minutes to go, and of course, if you like this video, certainly do subscribe to the iRacing eSports Network. There's other terrific series going on, and of course you can also watch the World Championship Series, which is just a week away. In these GTE cars, and that is by the very best sim racers in the world. And that's always puts on terrific racing endurance races, I believe, 3-hour events. And also check out the Apex Racing TV YouTube channel as well for more broadcasts by us in the commentary box.
Yeah, yeah, and there's the bell icon as well. Press that and you'll know when we are live on both the iRacing eSports Network and Apex Racing TV as well. We have been entertained so far, but is Keith Camilleri about to get Chris Dained here with a couple of laps to go. We are 51 minutes into this. Someone puts on the YouTube chat, where's the time gone? And indeed they are right. We've got 40 minutes or so left here at Belle Isle in Detroit. And so far it's been a masterclass by Radicals Online so far. You can just about see them in the foreground of the shot, just going through turn 3. And then it's the chasing pack. V-Racer, KC Racing Esports and Brit Tech Sim Sport after that. And I'm sure they're all vying to get as high a spot as possible. Interesting really, you can see from the timing tower the representation of all the manufacturers. It's Ferrari in 1st, 4th and 5th, and then Porsche 2nd and 3rd. Highest BMW is Chris Daines in 6th. I would imagine once the pit stops have shuffled themselves back out again, there will be a few more BMWs nearer the front, in particular Carl Janssen, who is currently in 17th, having made one stop. In fact, he is the highest driver in the field that has made a stop so far. And this could get interesting, Sam, now. as here come the leaders to try and get by one of the Team Mad BMWs. That is Michael Blake in the Immortal Smile Time car. I say Team Mad, it's Immortal Smile Time.
Yeah, it's got Mad on the car though. And a mad driver as well. Well, of course not. Michael Blake's a very experienced driver, and he'll let these guys go and takes the opportunity to come to the pits. And that's always very smart when drivers do that, because you lose 5 seconds or so by getting overtaken. So why not, take a pit stop whilst you're at it? Let those guys go a little bit quicker. Chris Dane's also into the pits. But yeah, Janssen, of course, pitted really early for that fast repair, if you remember. And he might, everyone might pit and he might magically be in the lead. I don't think he will be in the lead because he's had some traffic to deal with. But whenever I've looked down at his lap times, he's been a couple of tenths faster than the race leaders. And so he might be around 3rd or 4th position, and I ideally hope he is, because how terrific would it be if Janssen is chasing the top 3 down in the closing stage. So we're going to find out soon where he is in respect, because we're getting to a point within the next 10 minutes everyone would have had to have made a pit stop.
Indeed, so rejoining the track goes Chris Danes, just behind Pete Newman in that very nicely liveried CQR P&M with Lizard Ferrari 488 GTE. Then it's Dan Craft behind in the C-Car Evolution car. In fact, no, it isn't. That is behind one of the Brittech cars. I think there's a lap behind. There is Dan Craft, who is the next car behind. He's a bit of a way away. But there is Chris Danes. He's got his teammate in the Brittech SimSport car behind. That is Ethan Bass, still one of the biggest movers in the field. Barry Bear's coming to the pits for a second time. And Dennis Eifenberger's crashed again. Not too sure whether that's terminal for him or not. Hopefully not. As Andy Scheel comes into the pits in the Sim Sports Racing USA car. Sam mentioned how it's been a pretty quiet race for him. He's now trundling down the pit lane to get his mandatory service out of the way. Here is the battle that's been going on for pretty much the entirety of the race. Ben Hackerson, Nicholas Helm and Billy Fletcher all driving for Ferrari. 2 of them driving for Radicals Online Motor, and Nicholas Helm driving for Nomad Sim Racing White. The Swedes putting on a show here today. Good job so far by number 73, and in the background you can see one of the Racecraft Esports cars. I'm trying to work out which one it is. It's Marco Namella, who was in the pits for 47 seconds after that damage he sustained earlier. And the only way of him getting a lap back perhaps is through a safety car. Which I
don't think he'd get the lap back.
No,
unless we got lucky, Tom.
Unless we give it to him, yeah. Unless we follow the F1 approach.
I mean, I think we should test it, Adam. I think just throw one now, see if we can do it or not.
I remember doing that once in a... Yeah. I was just going to say, I remember doing that once in an iRacing Grand Prix Series event that we were doing on the orders of the race organisers, saying that it was boring throwing, and we ended up throwing away Martin van Loozenhoor's race. He was leading by about a minute. We threw the safety car. He decided to pit, but then didn't realise that the pits were closed and got dropped to the tail end of the longest line. And it definitely made it interesting for us, because it meant then that someone else won the race instead. But we did wonder at the time when we were doing the broadcast, like, why is the safety car come out? And we did find out later on that it was because the organisers wanted to make it a bit exciting. Oh, look at this. Hackerson on the defensive. And this could be the opportunity for Billy Fletcher. Is he going to go around the outside? That wall comes up very quickly, and it's almost squeezing him into the wall, and off into the wall goes Nicholas Helm, and he gets spun. He spins on the exit. That might be broken steering. I don't think he got turned around afterwards by... Oh, hello. Doing attempted J-turn. Reversing back down the track, finding a spot in the field he can get going again.
And Freitas gets past, so Miguel Freitas now the Pro-Am leader here. And Helm, oh dear, that could involve more cars. Whoa, how did they miss that one? That was Chris Danes, I think. Was it a couple of the Brittech cars at least get involved in that one. And how that wasn't a crash, I don't know. And Helm was a lucky person there. He hasn't made his pit stop yet, so... Or has he made his pit? I don't think he has. Oh, well,
Yeah, I did get hit afterwards.
Yeah, Nicholas there, he was really annoyed, I think, was Nicholas, because he was like, you know, I've just nearly gained a position, now I'm going to lose a position, stuck it round the outside, and that's the difficulty round here at Belle. If you're going to go round the outside, then, well, you can't be surprised when the opponent understeers into you. And whether that was Nicholas's fault or not, it doesn't really matter, because, well, that's the state of his car as it stands, and that is a potential race win. Could be important for the championship as well. Some big points available in these endurance races. So shame for him. So yeah, it's now Freitas leading the way in the Pro-Am drivers.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about the Pro-Am fight in recently. We can get that up for you now. There's quite a few cars have come into the pits. We'll recap those for you in a moment. It's Miguel Freitas leading the way. Then it's James Eagleston in second. Then it's Pete Newman in third, Mike Gray fourth, Nicholas Hellman fifth. And then it's Jason Dilworth, Kaiser, and more. Into the pits comes our race leader overall. Mark Fletcher trundles down the pit lane. Pit lane speed will need to be adhered to. In fact, can we get that up? Oh no, maybe not. In fact, I think I've broken the battle. I've broken the battle box. Is what's happened here.
Where's Janssen going to be in comparison to this on this last lap? Yeah, like I said earlier on, Janssen, whenever I've looked down, he's been about 0.3 of a second faster. So this could be dangerous for Mark Fletcher. Janssen is 2 cars behind him, and you know what? Janssen's about to cross the start finish line. There he is. So he's not going to take the lead as Janssen, but that might put him in 4th place behind the top 3 drivers. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, he's ahead of Danes. Yeah, so he's going to be in 4th place. Is Carl Janssen. He is 2.7 seconds behind. So you know what? Challenger and Kotchuk's got to be really careful here, because if they don't have a good in-lap, they're going to be jumped by Carl Janssen, who pitted so early in this race. And, well, if I were with them, I would be pitting right away now. Because one more clean lap for Janssen, and he's got a clean lap here, and he might be up into 2nd place.
Into the pits then comes Christian Challenger. He's also joined by Laszlo Kotrox. In the pits they come, trundling down. Now, will this extra lap help them at all? Ross McFarlane joins them too in the pits. Ben Hackerson, is he going to come into the pit lane as well with just under half an hour of the race to go? Well, we'll have to wait and see on that one. Indeed, he does. It's going to be a fight of the pit crews. They're both Radicals Online Turn Racing, but it'll be interesting to see which one of them comes out ahead. Will Kotrox be able to leapfrog Challenger? They will be both in the same Discord, you'd expect, so they may have coordinated the fuel and the tyres together, or just the fuel. And whereabouts is our race leader? There he is! The gap has come down. What about Carl Janssen? Is he going to split them at all? He is! Carl Janssen up into effectively 3rd place. The pit stop has worked a charm. He's separated that monopoly of the podium by Radicals Online, and now with half an hour of the race to go, he can set his sights after Challenger and also our race leader Mark Fletcher, sir.
Congratulations to Carl Janssen there, because that was a terrific lap. Just needed those couple of tenths, and that was ever so close. You think, you know, you had to gain something like 7 seconds, and in the end it came down to a couple of tenths. And now he's certainly the fastest driver out there. Can he get those 2 moves done? To be honest, after all the tribulations he's been involved in so far today, I think he'll probably quite fancy a 3rd place. Would be good points for him in the championship. So wouldn't be surprised if he just is a little bit passive to the end of this race now. But he might also feel as though, you know, I've got nothing to. Well, you know, I've come back from so much, and this would be a pretty cool race victory if I could pull it off. Keith Camley, who was the race leader, into the pits. Also, Christian Rose yet to come into the pits. He might take the lead. Unless oh yeah, he does. So Rose, you know, casually with an extra fuel tank out there, and deploying that fuel now, and he's still going. Rose, very quiet race so far. Of course, 2nd place last season in the standings. Always very competitive in this series. Maybe hasn't quite got the pace of the front runners, but he's always a very experienced driver, and guaranteed to get the most out of that car every single race. And this long stop, with the lack of traffic he's got, might just gain him a couple of places to allow him in the top 10.
Yeah, you never know. There may be a trap blockage somewhere. Safety car comes out. In fact, that'd be his worst nightmare, I think.
Yeah, that would be bad.
If the safety car came out. You wouldn't mind if a safety car came out without... Oh no, he'd still have to do his mandatory stop anyway. What you'd like is for the... Oh no, we don't have a delta in iRacing, do we? I was going to say, Rose come into the pit, safety car comes out then, and then he'd be able to get it done and come back out again.
Everyone just races round anyway, don't they? They don't have to slow down.
No. Need a VSC. Maybe get that in another build. VSC.
It's been deployed in other leagues where you just put on the speed limiter.
Yeah, I've seen that in the Arithmetic Sports Car Championship, which we do on a late Monday night. Into the pits comes Rose then, finally. An hour and 3 minutes into the race, so he's going to get just under half an hour on this last little bit of fuel that he needs to get. Mark Fletcher immediately resumes the lead. And look at this, Carl Janssen, he's getting up to second place. Rob Cuss on the YouTube chat saying that, oh well, he used to drive for Radicals anyway, so still technically a Radicals 1, 2, 3, if it makes you feel better, with 26 minutes to go. And it's a Ferrari versus Porsche versus BMW. I wonder if we may see the car off on the inside there. Ooh. That was, it might be Michael, no, it might not be. I think it was Marco Namella, you know. For the second time tonight, he's off at the end of the back straight. We'll have a look at a replay in a moment, just because it looks like that the former Radicals man is about to be put off. I thought he was going to get that inside wall then. He's about to put a move potentially on the Porsche for second place. He's reeling him in. Is he going to go on the defensive? The Porsche goes to cover the inside line. We've seen Janssen do moves around this part of the circuit before. Oh, he's going to miss his braking point, surely. Somehow Shannon makes it without hitting the wall, but Janssen, he's going to go around the outside. Good respect, good move, and fantastic move. He gets it done, Sam. He's up into second.
Yeah, I said earlier on how if you go to the outside like that, then you've got to be prepared to go into the wall. But credit there to Christian Challenger, gave him plenty of room. And Janssen, well, he's overtaken some 5 cars, I think, so far today. I mean, probably even more than that. But I mean, in terms of top drivers, he's overtaken about 5 of them. But one more to go, and this was how he did it. Straight away gets the cutback. Challenger super tight on that corner. Terrific run out of the corner for Janssen, just about got his nose ahead. And yeah, like I said, really credit to Christian Challenger there, because you know, you could have thought of the team game, you know, I could take this guy out, probably wouldn't affect me, and it would really help my teammates. But instead, he was very much, you know, fair racing, allowed Janssen some room, and now Janssen will definitely catch Mark Fletcher. The question is, with 25 minutes to go, can he overtake him?
Nice off into Namella. Oh, wow. How did that Nomad car not hit him? Gets off the track for when that lead group go flying by. There you go. That's them. And I think he may have jumped back to the pits. So Namella may be done for the day. Not the best day for Racecraft Esports, especially with Brian Lockwood back in the pits again. Not too sure what may have happened to him there. It might be just another visit, really, because he's not going to make it in terms of fuel. I'm not too sure, but yeah, it's not been the best of days for them again, not especially one of their home races. Oh, hello. Someone's spun. I can hear them. It's Matt Bunn.
Yeah.
And Matt Bunn, careful.
Ooh.
Wow. That's a braver man than me. Now he's going to have to get going again, right onto the racing line. And if someone emerges around that right-hander, they're going to see a face full. He's thankfully using the relative, which is something some of the other drivers haven't been thinking to do here. Down goes one of the Brittech Sim Sports car. That reversing into the concrete wall isn't going to do too much help. Matt. Oh, I'm not even confident he's going to be able to get the car pointing in the right direction again here. It is a driving test. He'd have failed long ago. Now he gets going. From what I can remember, if you clip the curb, you failed on the spot. I don't know if it's the same precedent if you hit the wall or not in this, but there you go. He's back going again in 31st spot. Michael Blake has had a moment somewhere too. Oh, Ben Hackerson has crashed. Oh dear, he's off at the end of the back straight. This is when Marco Namella went off. Now he was battling with Nicholas Helm before Helm had his moment. And I wonder what happened to cause this development here. He's got his Radicals teammate behind him at this point. That would have been Billy Fletcher. End of the back straights. Oh, just a lock-up drag the brake. Oh, and I think he tried to bail out and instead hit the wall. And once again, he too has to do the world's longest three-point turn to get back going again. Fortunately for him, though, Sam, he's in an area of the track where there isn't really too many positions to fight for, and he only dropped down to 13th. He's right back where he started.
Yeah, I think he was up into 9th place for a bit, Hagson, and he was one of the drivers who hadn't made a mistake up to that point. And another smart time racing drive around, and everyone tapping the wall. That was
Michael Blake. There he is on the blimp. Still also smart time. Did well at Snetterton last week in both the World GT and the BSR-TC. But problem for him there. Let's have a quick replay and see what happened to him. Into the complex he goes. Obviously you've got that battling duo behind. Oh, it is very bumpy there. Could
be tyres that these drivers in the 2-hour races last season around the high degradation circuits, they were changing tyres. And I remember Michael Abdoka told me how impossible it was to drive around Sebring at the end of the 2 hours. So these drivers aren't going to get to the end of the race easily. That grip will decrease, and it's quite a hot track temperature as well. It's 32 degrees and has been rising throughout. So, you know, less grip from your car, less grip from the circuit. It's not a good combination for these drivers. So maybe that's the reason why we're seeing a couple more errors late on here. But will there be an error between the top two? Fletcher leading Janssen. Both seem to be okay in terms of fuel. They had almost identical length pit stops. And yeah, this is a straight race now. Can Janssen get it done? I feel as though, Adam, whether or not it was his fault or not, I don't think he'll be going for a move into that corner necessarily. I don't think he'll want a repeat. And considering that he's made moves everywhere else on circuit, maybe he doesn't need to make a move there.
Yeah, it's a hard thing, I must admit, in this championship that obviously Janssen may take the checker flag, but the race may get taken away with him. I'm not too sure the steward's policy on it. Hello to Paul Smith, by the way, who's joined us on the YouTube chat. He's backing the Smart Time team, I believe. Smart Time Productions and all that. And you can see from the gap on the right hand side of your screen just how much it's come down over the last few laps. 1.7 seconds. It went up a bit when Janssen got that move done for second, and then since then it's been coming down by quite some margin. At the end of the last lap it's down to 0.3 of a second. You can see it is 0.3 of a second now with 20 minutes to go, and the big question is, where is he going to get the move done? Sam did say he might be a bit tentative of getting it done into the right hand at the end of the back straight. He's often a driver that we tend to hear from at the end of the broadcast, so if we do hear from him, whether he finishes in first or second, or maybe even lower than that if something transpires, it will be interesting to hear from him on, first of all, the incident earlier and this battle that's currently taking place with Fletcher. Decent last couple of sectors for Janssen, for Fletcher, I should say here. Sam, the gap's up to 0.6 of a second all of a sudden, nearly 0.75 of a second too.
Yep. And it's credit to Mark Fletcher. I wouldn't say, he delivered in qualifying. That's what you've got to do. And, of course, qualifying has proven to be quite important because, I think he's not necessarily had a pace advantage over the rest of the field, but he's just kept it out of the way. That car is clean as anything. And, of course, would have used his fast repair as well at his pit stop, but he hasn't picked up any damage across the race so far. Being very cool and collected. I haven't seen him slide around any of these corners. Really measured drive, but can he hold back Janssen? Baird looking to get past his teammate here. Is this for position? It is. It's probably his brother. Again, another brother combo, and not quite sure what the relation is. It could be brother, father, sister. I don't know. Maybe
you have a
Barry's
sister
a
called
common
Tony?
name for women. I mean, different places.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah. I'll give you that.
Well, no, to be fair, Tony is quite a common.
Tony with an I,
name, isn't it?
or maybe I'm not too sure.
Tony with an I. I mean, they could be spontaneous. I don't know. Start with a Y. No rules.
There you go. Yeah, this is the stuff we discussed. Yeah, this is the battle for the 24th, 25th here, the Bear Derby, as it were. And yeah, Barry is currently coming out on top here. And in fact, the gap's pulling up to 1.4 seconds. Pretty impressive considering he hasn't literally not got the front end of that BMW working at all. And these guys are a lap down on the rest of the leaders. That must be said. They are currently 24th and 25th. Shows you the pace of the guys at the front. We haven't really talked about the iRacing spectrum that we've got in the field here. Highest iRating, I believe, is Carl Janssen, who currently sits in second place, just over 8,000. And if we go down, I think the lowest iRating we have is the man that started in last place today. Not that that's any reflection of it or anything. I think it's Ethan Bass. And to show that it doesn't stereotype or anything, Ethan is still, I believe, our biggest mover in the field so far. So it doesn't matter what iRating you have, you can still pull off some moves and get yourself up the order, which is definitely what the Brittech SimSport driver has done today. The BMW in 30th, after starting stone dead last, 48th. And I don't care, that's probably a decent haul of points for him, considering the position he was in. Matt Bunn dropping down the order again. I think he's been to the pits for a second time. That may have been because he was in the pits earlier, as the gap for the lead down to 0.3 of a second with a quarter of an hour, well, just over a quarter of an hour to go here in the World GT Championship. After this race meeting, we go on a week break before we come back in 2 weeks' time when the championship heads. As I get the calendar up, we go to Zolder in Belgium. It's almost like a street circuit without the walls, really, Sam. It is one of the more narrow circuits that we go to on the calendar. And the drivers will be definitely needing to get inventive going into the two chicanes that we've got there.
Yeah, like we after round 5, because Zolder and then Imola, we would have had 5 circuits where they're kind of really tight, twisty, narrow circuits. Difficult to overtake circuits. I don't know if that was a deliberate from the organisers, but personally, I love these types of circuits where, as you can see, Carl Janssen struggling to make a move despite being half a second a lap quicker probably, and it really does produce some awesome epic battles, I'd say, because this has really been an epic race so far. So many drivers with crazy narratives to their opponents, and probably can't do justice to every single one of them, but certainly I think the best narrative out there is Carl Janssen. Mark Fletcher's arguably been a bit dull as he's hit the wall, and could that be the race win gone? He's hit the wall. How much damage has he got now? Can Janssen get the move done straight away? I wonder if Fletcher is going to have to back out of this one. Janssen goes to the outside. Is he going to get put in the wall? There's almost contact between the two of them. Surely there is contact, but just about staying ahead there is Fletcher. And this is shades of 94 Adelaide, where the leader picks up some damage, almost make contact. Again did Janssen. But you know what? Fletcher seemingly, Adam, I don't see too much significant damage, but it's not going to help him down the straights, and he needs all the help he can get.
Well, if you wanted to invite the pressure onto yourself, that was it there. Fortunately, it looks like from that onboard camera we could see everything is still pointing in the right direction. Mark Fletcher is able to continue in the lead. 0.3 of a second is the gap. They're coming up on some lap traffic now. That is Jason Dilworth in the Nomad Sim Racing black car. Oh, look at this. BMW squirming all over the place. Fletcher furiously, frantically flashing the lights, saying to Jason Dilworth, please give me some slack here, man. And I think he is trying to do so. He's going to have the blue and yellow stripes flag on his sim, surely, saying that the quick guys are coming to get by. I don't know if you watched the IndyCar race last night at Mid-Ohio, but it almost was like they don't have blue flags. They probably don't. And Felix Rosenqvist was trying to desperately try and get by to challenge Scott Dixon. Here we go. Through goes Fletcher. Janssen's right on his bumper going into the right-hander. He tries to get the cut back on the exit, but he just can't make it work. And he's still trying. Might even fancy his chances up the inside there. Surely not. No, he doesn't. He fancies better than that, but if he can get a decent run out of here, reasonable. And up through the gears we go. The highest BMW in the field is Carl Janssen. Chris Daines is the second highest in 7th. This is going to be the moment. This is where he's been able to pull off some stellar moves around this part of the circuit so far today. But Mark Fletcher is definitely going to be the toughest opponent yet. And he wasn't able to get it done this time, as we've now got under 15 minutes to go. We have got 12 and a half minutes to decide this one. The first Enduro of the season in the World GT Championship. A stellar race here at Belle, the streets of Detroit. After an hour and 17 minutes, this is all that separates our top two. Oh, again, Fletcher out wide, knocks a few kilometres per hour off by grazing that outside wall. He has to cover the inside now. Is he going to get passed around the outside by Janssen? Surely there's no grip out there. You can see the marbles too. But Janssen is searching for every last possible bit of clear space to try and get the best run he can.
Yep, right to the inside wall there is Fletcher. Janssen so far has been very unwilling to go for outside moves. He's kind of just been going for the cutback every single time. Here is an outside move though. He's got a good run almost into the tyre wall again. He's really flirting with that one. And couldn't get the run on the exit. Good resistance there from Fletcher. And yeah, what a race this is. It's so difficult for Fletcher. I really feel for him right now, because for the first hour he was absolutely cruising and he could just take the lines that he wants to. He wasn't thinking about his driving. Now all of a sudden he's got pressure on his tail. He's thinking every single corner massively, and maybe overthinking a little bit too much, and it puts a massive amount of pressure on him. Really slow coming out of that corner, and here comes Janssen to the outside. This is how he got second position, trying to go around the outside, almost contact between the two of them. Janssen will try to stick it round all the way. Can he get the inside for the next hairpin? Fletcher just about pulls ahead, but I don't know how he's going to hang on to this position for many more laps, let alone what the 15 minutes that we've got, 11 minutes to go. So, I mean, every lap that goes past, maybe Mark Fletcher has a better opportunity, but certainly Janssen's looking the stronger at the moment.
Janssen ramping up the tension as well by flashing the lights. Mark Fletcher, tell you what, Jason Dilworth has a fantastic view of this as the turf gets ripped up on the inside of that first corner. Onto the back straight we go again. Not the best exit, I must admit. Immediately Fletcher to the inside. He's going to move back over to the racing line. He thinks about it, but now Janssen is there on the outside. He's going to try and get the cut back. He's failed in the previous few attempts and he very nearly gets it done again there. It's all about, though, it's that run into the complex where Janssen seems so superior. That BMW seems to be a monster in a straight line, especially when he picks up the toe off the back of that Ferrari. The Ferrari well known for its robustness on the straights, but it's the run off this right-hander that Janssen's been getting the last few laps. It probably wasn't as good this time, but he's still closing the gap as they go towards the complex again with the fountain. Nearly thinks about sending it up the inside there, didn't he? Yeah.
I mean, if there's half an opportunity, you've got to bend it if you're Fletcher, because you know you don't want to get overtaken down the inside. You don't want to get caught out by a surprising move, because that's the worst way to lose the lead. You want to. You don't want to make a mistake, but you want to at least Janssen to work for this one after an hour and 23 minutes or however long we've been going for now. You know, you want him to pull off a spectacular move or something. As Fletcher again sideways coming out of that corner. We'll go to the inside. Can Janssen get to the inside? This could be an opportunity. He ran the outside of turn 1 on the inside of turn 2. We've seen he needs to get a lot more alongside going into that one. As that's a really good run that for Janssen. He's going to try to go around the outside again. Is he going to go for the cutback? He pulls ahead, does Carl Janssen. Once again, he momentarily takes the lead of the race. But Fletcher, that's one of the few corners where he's probably equally as strong, and he's really good just skimming that curb. And Janssen keeps on trying to go around the outside, but he just can't get the inside for the corner after that. And well, the minutes are ticking down. They're also losing time to Challeneur, by the way. They were 4.5 seconds ahead of Challeneur, now 2.5 seconds. So Christian's trying to get involved in this one, but I don't think he's going to catch by the end.
Oh, thinks about it, doesn't it? Going into the right-hander, it's the slow-speed corners where Fletcher's at his best. Round the outside, this is where Janssen's been able to do it in the past. But look at that, there's surely no grip out there. He's going to try and use it up the inside. Carl Janssen takes the lead of the race with 8 minutes or so to go. Now it's all going to be about whether Mark Fletcher can respond. Surely he can't go up the inside into there. No, he doesn't. And Carl Janssen, after being way down the order after a collision and an early pit stop, finds himself in P1 with 8 minutes exactly to go in the race. And Mark Fletcher is now going to be down to him. He's led pretty much the entire of this race, aside from the pit stop phase. Now it's going to be whether to see what's left in that Ferrari, but Janssen's already scampering up the road, Sam. He's got a 6/10 of a second lead.
Yep, he should be sailing away. Terrific move once again from Carl Janssen. Just seeing some of the comments on the YouTube chat, and yeah, this is absolutely terrific fighting between the two of them. I mean, Janssen, he was so far behind at one point in the race, and that wasn't really a move necessarily. It was just a glance at how Janssen, you know, he's hit the wall there and then hit Fletcher, I think. But his speed through that left-hander was terrific, and to keep it around the inside, you can see he almost loses that inside line. Just about kept his nose alongside, and once that was done, there was no chance for Fletcher to go around the outside at the hairpin. I mean, that he's pulled off some probably 5 amazing moves, has Carl Janssen so far today, and one of them a little bit questionable, it's safe to say. But apart from that, he's been absolutely awesome, and poor Mark Fletcher. And that's still might be leading the championship after this one, good Mark Fletcher, but Janssen, who looks as though he's going to be leading this race to the end. We didn't mention actually earlier on, it's been so action-packed that Keith Camillet got ahead of Ross McFarlane during the pit stops. So clearly a couple of good laps. He's still only just ahead of McFarlane, really showing how evenly matched these guys are. But they've caught up to Kotchocks, and it feels a while ago now that Radicals had a 1-2-3. They're now 2-3-4. Still be a really good result, but they're under big pressure now from Camillet. He's been really quick, and if it weren't for that hold up from McFarlane for 2/3 of this race, maybe he would be even further up the road and perhaps fighting for the race win. But you know, lots of ifs and buts. But Camillet certainly a lot quicker at the moment. 3 seconds behind the next driver, Christian Chalner. Also, Ben Palmer's just got past Chris Wood, and they are pretty much alongside at the moment.
Here they are. Not often you see cars going wheel to wheel here, and it almost ends in disaster here. Around the outside goes the Team Wood car. Dave Bacon nearly thinking of making it 3 wide. I bet you there's not many more wise heads in this championship than Dave Baker, and I think anybody else may have actually contemplated of doing so. Baker up the inside of the Team Mad car, and he is through. Dave Baker up into P15 with a couple of minutes to go here. Oh, now what about Ben Palmer? Can Dave Baker try and get by him? I don't think he's close enough to think about a move just yet. There may still be time with 5 minutes to go. And what a great battle that's going on here. Oh dear, what's happened to Mike Gray? That is off at the end of the back straight. The XVR sim racing car is down to 18th place. Pete Newman, the beneficiary there from Mike Gray's mistake. Well, at least I think it's a mistake. I don't think he got hit or anything. But it's very close again for the fight for the best of the rest spot. Challoner not too worried about his 3rd position. It's Laszlo Kotrox that's worried about his 4th spot. And Keith Camilleri is right up against the concrete wall. You can't really get more defensive than that. He's going to have to get to the racing line at some point, otherwise he's going to have the mother of all turn-ins. He just about makes it, but he runs wide on the exit. Moves across. Now he's going to be at a disadvantage for this right-hander. He's going to be at a disadvantage really for the rest of this sector, really. Now as a result of that, is it going to compromise him onto the back straight though? Camilleri really needs to try and nail this exit, and the Porsche will be a sitting duck as a result. He has done so. The Ferrari versus the Porsche. He's going to have to go around the outside. Now he's moving across. Up the inside goes the Porsche. Surely he's not going to make the corner. He slides. He's slipping all over the place. Through goes Camilleri. Ross McFarlane says, thank you very much. I'll take that 5th position as well. And Laszlo Kotrox is demoted down to 6th place in the closing stages of the race.
Yeah, running in 3rd place for such a long amounts of this race. Kotrox, and yeah, just got really deep on that corner. And leads out to Camilleri and McFarlane, who remain glued together. They've been no stop for the entire race, and that's not going to end. Camilleri now with 4 seconds to gain to Challoner, so I don't think that's going to happen. And yeah, these 3, that should pretty much be this battle sorted out to the end of the race. And well, I mean, who knows in this race? There's been so much action, you can't really be certain about anything. 3 seconds though, Carl Janssen now has a lead over Mark Fletcher. He's really just sprinted out, and I think Janssen also has saved those tyres well, and also Fletcher, you know, again, back to that mental thing earlier on, you know, he's been out in the lead so comfortably for an hour. All of a sudden you've got a car right on your tail, you start questioning how you're driving. And Fletcher, understandably, with the hotter track temperatures and with the tyres degrading as well, really must just be so low on confidence at this point in comparison to earlier on, and they do a good job at just making sure that he secures that second position. Lap 61 now for these drivers. It's a lot of laps, and each one of them has been absolutely thrilling from start to finish. Dilworth versus Grapwick, by the way, a little bit further down. Sorry, I was Freitas Pro-Am leader, I assume you're going to say.
Yeah.
He's not Pro-Am leader.
Yeah, he's the Pro-Am leader with a couple of minutes to go. Just going to quickly run you through that before we get to the checkered flag for everybody else. Freitas, Newman, Gray, Helm, Kaiser, Eagleston, Rapidger and Dilworth are very close. If I can find them on the screen, there they are. Just a couple of tenths of a second between them, really, with a year one versus Nomad Sim Racing there. That might go down all the way to the end. We'll watch out for that when the checkered flag comes out. Just 4 tenths of a second between them. So that is the state of play in the Pro-Am Championship. Ben Palmer and Dave Baker and Chris Wood all relatively close with a couple of seconds between them as we are in the final 90 seconds or so of this Enduro here in the World GT Championship at Belle in Detroit. We'll do a week off after this, and then we go to Zolder in Belgium before we go to the high speeds of Imola and the hard braking as well. That's going to be good. Reminder, of course, to give this video a like and the iRacing Esports Network a subscribe as well. Click the bell icon so you don't miss another live broadcast or another live video or at all. And after that monumental battle for the lead, it looks like for the most part everybody is settling down for the checkered flag. Looking on the track map, Carl Janssen is on his way to start what will be the final lap of the race. And what a race it has been here in Detroit. Not a dull moment at all, really. It started off with Janssen working his way through the field, colliding with 2 cars, which he may get investigated for later. We've had the issues with Racecraft Esports, Namella and Lockwood not having the best of things. The Barry Baird, Tony Baird derby has come to a halt because Barry is either out of the race or has been disqualified. I'm not too sure whether we have incident points or not in this series, but Barry is gone.
We don't.
No, so not too sure what's happened to Barry there. I know that Lewis Bibby had a received throughput, so therefore has had to withdrew from the race before he even started. But really hope that nothing bad has happened to Barry there, because that is a shame, really, with the checkered flag in sight. He's not going to cross the line, but one person that looks destined to take victory here is Carl Janssen. No matter what you put in front of him, he usually does deliver, especially in the enduro races like this, with an iRating of 8,152 and a World Championship licence to boot. There isn't too many that can stop him. Josh Thompson may have given it a fair go, but he had steering wheel issues earlier. And credit to Mark Fletcher, stuck his elbows out for as long as he could, but in the end he was unable to deny him after a titanic duel that resulted in a spectacular move by Janssen around the outside of the complex. He's going to come through though and take the checkered flag. He's going to force that Team Mad Small Time car to do another lap, and he takes victory here. Carl Janssen wins round 3, the 3rd race meeting of the World GT Championship, our first enduro of the season. Credit to Mark Fletcher, silver medal for him today. And Christian Challoner finishes in 3rd, with Keith Camilleri pulling off a good pit stop window and a good move to get into 4th place right at the very end. Miguel Freitas is on his way to Pro-Am glory here, if he can just hold on for another half a lap. He's got a relatively big cushion over the 2nd Pro-Am in Pete Newman. Richard Warmingham and Ben Hackerson are very close behind Miguel as well, so we may see that in a moment. There you go, you can see the 2 of them in the background of the shot. Andy Shield and Billy Fletcher just a couple of seconds apart. But here is Freitas. Hasn't had to deal with too much. He's going to come home and take the Pro-Am victory here in the BMW. The Portuguese takes the checkered flag there. And Hackerson and Warmingham very, very close indeed. Here is that battle that we were looking at earlier. It's going to be Dave Baker that finishes ahead of Chris Wood. Pete Newman is going to come home 2nd in the Pro-Am class, and Mike Gray, after that little off with a few minutes to go, is going to take home the bronze medal position in the Pro-Am category. Not too many more cars on the lead lap, that must be said, Sam, but yeah, so many talking points as we expected in this enduro race, and a fantastic result for Carl Janssen, and so too a shout out to the Radicals team as well. Quite a lot of their team in the top 10 too.
Yeah, second, third, and sixth, and yeah, a couple of other of their drivers did well as well. Billy Fletcher up in ninth place, so impressive for them. And yeah, that was really the race that we dreamed of, and a whole lot more. To have that battle between Janssen and Fletcher, and you know, I'm giving them a metaphorical round of applause, as I imagine many other drivers, because that was a terrific entertainment and a really well respected driving as well. Of course, we had that slight incident, but apart from that, I think all the drivers there were really well mannered, and saw pretty much no incidents, because you know, round this circuit, it's so easy to do, and with a 1 hour 30 race as well, plenty of time to make crashes. But these guys did a terrific job at keeping it out of the barriers. The driving quality was impeccable, and Carl Janssen takes the lead of the championship as well, barring any penalty points and stuff. But at the moment, he is the championship leader for the first time this season, is the defending champion.
Kicking off his title defence here, really, with that win. And as they come back into the pits, we'll hopefully hear from some of them in a moment. But first, let's get the race results up. So another brilliant race, and don't forget the next race in 2 weeks' time. Kai Janssen wins. What a day to have a number 1 in your name. Mark Fletcher, car triple 1, finishing in second. Christian Schallner completes the podium. Keith Camilleri finishes in 4th place, with Ross McFarlane following him home. Those two were pretty much inseparable the entire race. However, it's Keith that finishes ahead of Ross, after the Scotsman was ahead of the Maltese for the first half of the race. Laszlo Kotrox finishing in 6th, and Chris Daines in 7th. Andy Shield, car 007, quietly comes home in 8th. 3 seconds ahead of Billy Fletcher in 9th, and Christian Rose rounding out the top 10. Miguel Freitas finishes in P11 in the end, the Pro-Am winner. Ben Hackerson 12th, 13th for Richard Warmingham. And then Ben Palmer in 14th, Dave Baker P15, and 16th for Chris Wood. The podium is completed in the Pro-Am by Pete Newman and Mike Gray. They finished 17th and 18th overall. Then 19th for Dan Kraft, 20th for Nicholas Helm, 21st for Jerome Kaiser. Then after that, it's the cars that finished 1 lap down or more. Many of these just laps based on the pure pace of Janssen and Fletcher at the front. James Eagleston, Tony Baird, Jason Dilworth, Edward Rappager finishing in 25th. Mark Woodhouse there in 26th place. 27th for Dennis Eipenberg, then Ethan Bass. Just going to double check whether he still remains the biggest mover. In fact, he is. 20 positions gained to finish in a 28th place. That is quite a good job there by Ethan, BritTech Simsport. A few shout-outs to them on the YouTube chat as well. Steve Baxter in 29th, 30th for Paul Gosling. Barry Baird finishes 3 laps down in the end in 31st. Not too sure what happened to him. John Tusting in the Team GB esports car. We saw him getting lapped a few times today, the 64 car. Michael Evdoka finishing in 33rd. Edward May in 34th. Matt Bunn had a massive 3-point turn operation to do on one of the narrowest parts of the track. Finished 35th in the end after making a few pit stops. Michael Blake, not his day today, finishing in 36th. 37th for Ben Gregory. Then we've got a few cars 20 laps down in Brian Lockwood and Marco Namella, both Racecraft Esports cars. Brandon Tabone in 40th place. Then Mike Partington, who was really fighting for the high positions with Carl Janssen for a while until the contact there. Then Ronald Moons, Rob Cuss, Jake Blackhall there in 44th place. Dan McCauley 45th. Josh Thompson out very early on. Broken steering, literally. The hardware failure for him there. Couldn't shift up at all and had to retire. And then rounding out the field, it's Jack McIntyre and Lewis Bibby, who had a received throughput before this race even got going. So a drop week for him. He'll take that. And he'll be looking forward to when we get going again in Belgium in 2 weeks' time for the resumption of the World GT Championship there. Right then. Do we have interviews? We don't as of yet.
Where is everyone? I mean, there's so much to talk about.
They're all knackered, and who can blame them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Looks like that is the case. We'll give them a few minutes. We'll give them till 1:15 if anyone wants to join us. Shout outs to Chris and Ethan on the YouTube chat, to the BritTech Simsport guys. Well done to Keith as well from Hubert Camilleri, I'm guessing a relation. Keith Camilleri finishing in 4th place in the end, coming up against some of the Radical guys. Phil George on the YouTube chat as well. saying well done to everyone there. Paul Smith joining them as well. John Roberts, a familiar name on the YouTube chat as well. Quite a few people. We've even got the Omar Barbara. Sorry, I thought that was the Come Fly On Me character then for a second on the YouTube chat as well. Well then, a reminder of what we've got to come over the next few weeks then before we sign off here on the iRacing Esports Network. Of course, we've got a week off next week, but after that we head to Zolder in Belgium, the fast speeds of Imola and the hard braking zones as well. That's going to be fun. And we also go to Monza as well, so a 2-week stay in Italy. Some of the best tracks on the calendar. Spa after that, a trio of great racetracks there. And then we go to Motegi in Japan, Kota in America, so we head back over to the North American continent. Silverstone GP in mid-October. I'm hoping that's on the new layout of Silverstone. It should be. Then after that, it is Road America, the Bend layout. That should be interesting. I remember a BSRTC race meeting, in fact, where we ran that. Didn't go too well. Okayama in Japan. That's going to be really interesting, especially with the Japanese tarmac. Am I right, Paul Smith? Watkins Glen after that, mid-November. That's going to be good. The high speeds there of the Glen. Montreal in Canada, back to the concrete barriers and the Armco walls. Concrete walls and the Armco barriers. I should have said that. And then we end the season at Laguna Seca in mid-December, it looks like. So that's just what we've got to look forward to. We have got Mark Fletcher, who's just come into the interview room now, and it's the man that put up a resolute defence throughout the race, led really for the majority, and it was a great duel between him and Carl Janssen in the end. And Mark Fletcher joins us in the interview room now. Mark, welcome. I think it may be the first time we've heard from you this season, but what a defensive drive you put up there. It's just a shame that the race was an hour and 30 minutes rather than an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah. I tell you, hats off to Carl. I was told by the fiancée, that he pitted early, and she was updating me on times. I knew it was going to be close coming out of the pits. But man, that guy's a machine. That I could only put up so much, but we tried.
Yeah, there were parts of the circuit where you were just about able to stay ahead of him, particularly that complex. But in the end, he was able to get that move done around the outside and send it up the inside on the end of the fountain section, really.
Yeah. That was one of them where I knew he was to my right, and there was no point turning in because we're both taking each other out. So I just thought, right, fair enough, you've got it. I'm just going to back off now. After you.
Well, for the first part of the race, it was going pretty well for you. You had a relatively comfortable cushion over your fellow Radicals comrades there. Everything was going pretty well.
Yeah, I was probably as surprised, if not more surprised, to get pole there.
You were learning the track, weren't you? Yeah, at the time.
yeah, that's what it was. That was my feeder lap because I actually only bought the track last Wednesday. I was like, I'll have a go at this, but yeah, no, the boys have really helped with setup again for this week, and we seem to be going well.
Yeah, 2 weeks' time we head to Zolder in Belgium. How do you think you're going to fare there? It's almost like one of the street circuits without the walls, really. It's one of the most narrow circuits we go to.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be more runoff there. Again, that's going to be a lot of practice. It's going to be super tight again. From what I can guess, the passing was quite difficult on there. Obviously, there were a couple of people that are just naturally talented when it comes to passing, but luckily I didn't need to do a lot of that. Just use my lights to try and flash my way through.
Great. Well done on the second place today, considering your relative inexperience on this track. And before we let you go, do you want to send a quick shout out to anyone?
Yeah, all the guys at Radicals for all the support that we get, and then just the standard sponsors. So the guys at Cranfield Simulations, Joel Realtiming, Armour, who do all our clothing, the Motaf Podcast guys, U-Turn Racing, the Simmortal guys that make wicked little models, Pixel Dust, and Six Sideways. And that's me done.
Well done, I must say. Good job recalling all of them. Yeah, well done, Mark, today on the second place today, and hopefully we'll see you on the winner's step in the future in this series.
I hope so. One day I'll make it, I'm sure. Cheers, guys. Thanks a lot.
No worries. Mark Fletcher there. Sam, I think this means you get the privilege of interviewing our race winner, Carl Janssen, I think, who's in the interview room. And I think we've got time after that to hear from Christian Challoner as well, who's waiting down there too. So we've got Carl Janssen in. Take it away.
Yes, congratulations, Carl. I'll just say, thanks for putting on that show because us in the commentary box, along with lots of people at home as well, really enjoyed that one. I mean, what a titanic battle. You had to pull off 5 immense moves, I believe, to win that race. You must be pretty knackered after that.
Yeah, it was a good race, but first and most of all, I want to apologize to Mike Partington and also Brian Lockwood for the mistake on lap 13. Wasn't the optimal move, but yeah, I guess shit happens. But yeah, just want to apologize to those guys before I start anything else. But yeah, I mean, all in all, it was a really, really good race, and it was super hard to make passes around this track since it's such a narrow track, and also there's no like real big long straights. And the walls are so close, you need to be perfect on your moves, and it's not like a track where you can just go for a move and then be done with it. It's usually follows through a few corners.
Yeah, and you absolutely executed those moves perfectly. When you were chasing down Mark in those closing stages, were you paying much attention to the clock, thinking, I've only got 10 minutes to get this move done? Or, what was your mentality there? Were you getting a little bit impatient behind him?
I was more of, when I catched him, it was about 10 laps left in the race. So at that point, I was just trying to figure out where I'm quicker, where I'm slower, and then to execute the move from there on. Then the Ferrari had very, very good traction. So in the end there, I was just trying to force a mistake or force a move. And in the end, it kind of worked out for me.
And when you made that early pit stop and you were setting all those very quick lap times, trying to make up a few places, were you aware that you were going to, when everyone else was going to pit, that you were going to be in that top 3? Because it took us by surprise that you managed to get up into 3rd position by undercutting everyone.
I was running with Kuto, so I could see what or how much I was gaining with or on the leaders every lap, and it was like 0.3 to 0.7 almost every lap. So I knew. I mean, I knew it was going to be close, but I didn't think it was going to be that close that I could split between the Radicals Porsches. But yeah, I mean, the pace was really good from the car today. I don't think I could have asked for anything more, really. It was just really great to drive.
Before we let you go, Carl, is there anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank all of Core Sim Racing for continued support in both World Championships and just normal series. And yeah, then to CQR for letting me stay with them during the races.
Thanks, Carl, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Yep.
So that was Carl Janssen. And Adam, who are you going to have a chat with next?
We do have Christian waiting to talk to us, and we also do have Ross McFarlane as well. We can probably grab both of them up for a quick word before we sign off for the evening. I'll get them both in together, in fact. Get them both in. There we go. Well, guys, welcome. Christian, I'll start off with you. 3rd place today. You and your teammate were pretty close throughout the entire race. Tell us about it from your perspective.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with the qualifying. That went really well. Normally that's kind of what we've struggled with, or at least I specifically have struggled with in these GT cars. So I was really happy with qualifying. If you'd have offered me even anywhere inside the top 10 before we started, I would have taken it. So to be second, I was really pleased with that. I feel like I maybe ran the race a little bit the wrong way. In past races, I've always kind of been good on tires. What I didn't realize was that the Porsche just eats them no matter what you do. So really, when I should have been pressing Mark near the beginning of the race, I was taking care of him, and I think that actually hurt me more than it helped. So when I realized this, it was kind of too late, and I was just totally powerless to stop Carl coming through. I mean, he completely, like, Mark held him for ages, and I couldn't even hold him for a lap, so I was a bit disappointed in my defense there. But yeah, overall, I'll definitely take a third. Really happy with that.
And just behind you, your teammate in fifth place, Laszlo, sixth place in the end, Laszlo. You two were pretty much together for the first half of the race, but Ross McFarlane, who joins us for an interview now, you were able to get a few positions in the end. You just weren't able to get past Keith, who you had behind you for the first part.
Yeah, that was a long race, and me and Keith, once it all settled down, I think we were within a second of each other for the whole race, really. In the first half, I didn't know whether to let him go, maybe, and let him, carry me up to the Radicals cars. But I was actually a bit worried about the cars behind. They had some good pace, so I didn't want to give up that gap. And yeah, when we pitted, he managed to nip past me, and I think maybe I took like a little bit too much fuel, a bit of a bad in lap, so it's understandable. And then yeah, we got really a bit spicy at the end there with Laszlo. Laszlo was clearly struggling with his tires, but he was defending like a madman, and I was thinking it might end in tears, but we all safely made it through, and yeah, it was a pretty good race.
And Christian, you've had a taste now of the 20-minute sprint races and the hour and a half in enduros, especially around a street circuit like this. How are you and the team adjusting to life in the World GT Championship so far?
Oh, I've really enjoyed it so far. I wanted to do the races on the basis of that I feel like in GT cars, especially, I've kind of been lacking in battle. So I thought the 20-minute sprint races really works well for that, because you have to be ruthless, but at the same time not stupid, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I feel like that's helped a lot. The 1.5 hour kind of deal is a bit closer to what I'm used to. I have to say I actually enjoy the 20-minute races more. There's just more action in them, and there's just more opportunities to learn. But yeah, I think this is week 3, right? And I've enjoyed every race so far, even last week where it was so frustrating to pass. But in general, the series is really good. I've had a ton of fun.
Plus a reverse grid or two in there as well. Yeah, Ross, a week off for you guys to catch your breath after the Enduro here today, and you're off to Zolder in Belgium after that, and then the likes of Imola and Monza as well. So some pretty big racetracks to tackle coming up for you.
Yeah, it's a tough stretch of tracks. A lot of curbs and tight corners to deal with. Zolder has obviously got some crazy chicanes, and I think it'll be much of the same that we've seen here at Belle Isle, just very tight action, and luckily there's a bit of grass to run off onto, so I'm going to be thankful for that. I luckily only hit the wall a couple of times, but yeah, I mean, those tracks are they're challenging. I'm looking forward to some of the more open, wide tracks.
Yeah, I know they are coming. I can say that I think there's Spa not too far away, and some of the much bigger tracks to come along as well. Finally, from you, Christian, yeah, as Ross was saying there, Zolder in 2 weeks. It's almost going to be a bit like Snetterton in a way. That was a pretty narrow circuit there. You're going to have to think about where you're going to get these overtakes done.
Yeah, it's really difficult in the Porsche because you've got no straight line speed at all. That said, I do like Zolder as a track, and I feel like in the past it's actually not been. I mean, it's always difficult to pass on these really small tracks and that, but I thought Brands Hatch would be terrible for passing, and it wasn't. So I'm hoping it's going to be the same at Zolder.
Great. Well, before we let you go then, Ross, you can take it away with the shout-outs first.
Yeah, thank you to V-Racer and their sponsors, Events House, Noble Chairs, Swedish Rig Designs, our livery makers, everyone who puts the team together. It's fantastic. Thanks to you guys for the broadcast. I'm sure I'm going to have great fun watching it back later. I'm going to be looking at all the action. And another special thank you to TechSense FitSty. You know, we're working together well as a sort of unit, and it's really good to have that in a series like this where everyone can really get along, and it's a really good atmosphere. So thanks to the series as well.
Just realised, Christian, cheers for that, Ross. I think, Christian, that Mark may have done all the shout-outs for you, so I think you may have got away with that one, unless the other Radicals team has any other different sponsors that you may want to get a shout-out for.
Well, I'm glad he did, because I actually kind of was just rushing to get to the sponsor page right there, so I'm hoping that Mark kind of took care of everything. But yeah, I'd give a shout-out to JRT, because they are the sponsor of the specific Porsche team for this really good product. I definitely use it all the time and everything. So give them a shout out. Also to Laszlo and Rob and everybody at Radicals for kind of getting me involved in this league, because it's been a ton of fun, and Laszlo's doing a great job in the other Porsche. So yeah, I'm hoping Mark got everybody else, and a shout out to you guys as well for putting on the broadcast. It's always fun to watch them back.
Great, well done to both of you today. Right in amongst the top 5 for the majority of the race, and hopefully we can see more of the same from you when we get back on track in 2 weeks' time at Zolder. So yeah, thanks for taking the time to come and speak to us.
Cheers.
Thanks.
There we go. And Sam, final thoughts from you as we approach half past 10 at night. A good way to send us into the 2-week break. A fantastic scrap at the front in the Enduro, which sometimes we don't get, but we got it today and we thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, often these endurance races, they're like 15 or 20-minute races, but everyone kind of just jags away from one another, and not kind of much action happens. That was very action-packed, and the drive from Carl Janssen there through all his tribulations, and finished on the at the top, and also the top sticks separated by 13 seconds. I think we've been going for 90 minutes. We've been going for over 60 laps. You know, that's something like 0.2 of a second between the top 6 drivers. They're so evenly matched. Some good battles down the field as well, but particularly at the front. And thanks for those guys for putting on such an immense show. And I think the championship's just going to get better and better as we get closer to the end of the season. We're going to have the points to think about as well. And there are many different competitive drivers who could still take that title.
Great. Well, if you thought, thank God I watched this over the Love Island final, give this video a like and the channel a subscribe as well. And make sure, as we've been saying all night, to hit the bell icon so you never miss a live broadcast here on the iRacing Esports Network. As we've been saying throughout the entire night as well, we'll be taking a week break, and we'll be back on the mid-August for the return of the World GT Championship, where we head to Zolder in Belgium. And thanks to Sam for joining me in the commentary box as always on a relatively warm night, it must be said, here in the UK. But what hot action we've had on the track here at Belle in Detroit. A fantastic victory from Carl Janssen. We'll see if we can continue this form into the next part of the season. So from all of us here at Apex Racing TV on the iRacing Esports Network, it's good night from the Belle Isle circuit here in Detroit in the World GT Championship.